This is S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to S4, where we talk about the real issues involving paranormal and current events, coming to you live from the S4 headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. We also cover topics such as disaster and terrorist response and preparation and veterans issues as appropriate. So tonight, it's already May, and can you believe it? We kick off May with a special guest, Chris Garcia, well-renowned psychic medium, tarot reader, and shamanic healer. So tonight, we will discuss being a psychic in the paranormal world and hear what he has to say. And in the third hour, we will have Barry Gaunt coming in to discuss the UFO videos the Navy released. Is it the new UFO disclosure? Who knows? We need to give a shout out to listener Cade, who works at the Mount Vernon Starbucks as a barista. A new listener who just found out about us when we went for a latte. So welcome aboard, Cade. And of course, as usual, I got to give my kids a shout out. Cheyenne and Anthony, because I know they're probably not listening, but they will later.
And PBR, welcome back. We haven't seen you in a while.
Outstanding. So tonight we have Colin Kayla and Chris Garcia, our guest and psychic medium. So how you doing tonight, Chris?
Doing good, Eric. It's a pleasure to be on.
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding. So we have psychics on every once in a rare while. It's always nice to hear different psychics come in and give their perceptions of what the psychic field has to offer in the paranormal. So I'm going to start right off with what was the first thing that told you had abilities?
Well, I knew I was talking to a imaginary friend, which was actually my spirit guide at that time. I didn't know. And it's also, it runs in my family too. It's genetic. So it runs from my mom's side to my grandma. So, but I didn't have to ask. It was just, I learned on my own. It was like I was a flower just blossoming. And you could see it, I just knew it, I guess, that I was different. And I actually thought that, that other people could do this. And then I realized that, that you could that other people couldn't do everything. So, yeah.
So, I know you learned you were different, you had gifts as a child. Was that scary for you as a child?
Honestly, no. I guess I never had, anything demonic come after me, thank God. But I've always was, disasters. I used to predict things. I remember, I think around maybe 10, I started having dreams of plane crashes, floods, but I didn't know what that was. It was just that I just knew that I kept seeing stuff, but I didn't understand that it was going to happen. I just had these dreams, and then as time went on, there was a lot of stuff validated as I grew up, so kind of put two and two together. I'm like, wow, I was predicting disasters and stuff. So I've always been able to predict that and see things before they come. I have premonitions. I still do visions and stuff. But it's just a thing that I just love to do, and I give my services for free on the missing persons cases and the paranormal work.
Right on. So. Right on. That comes in later, a little bit later in the show, because I always like to ask, how do you feel about psychics that like to charge $150 a minute? Personally, when it comes to the paranormal, we've never charged. we've never even asked for donations because, well, to me, you say we take donations, that kind of insinuates that you want money for whatever you do.
Yeah, exactly.
If people offer donations, we've always taken them. Sure, we need gas money, we need, whatnot. But we never say, no, we don't charge, but we do take donations, because the minute you say we take donations, again, that says
It's
you want money.
insinuated.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Chris, is this a career for you, or do you have anything else that you do outside of the paranormal?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I made this my gift as loving career. I don't see it as a job, because a job, you know how some people just like once you work there, you just get tired of it. Me, I put love into it. Of course, I talk to my grandma all the time when she's on the other side. Talk to God, of course, and my guides. So to me, I see it as a career, and this is what I do for a living. There's times where I do charge, but I make it reasonable. Sometimes I get people discounts here and there. But most of the time lately, I've been doing a lot of free readings and stuff like that, so they can know who I am. And when I'm guided to give the free readings, I'll do it. But when it comes to if they want to see me face to face, I've had people say, you know what, I don't want to. I know that I'm working your psychic brain, so I'll just pay you for whatever whatever you charge, so and stuff like that. But other than that, I love what I do, and I put love into it in every aspect and different fields that I do.
Excellent.
So, did I hear you say you were working on a book? You're doing writing?
Well, I can do automatic writing too, if that's what you're saying. I'm planning. Okay. Yeah, I can do that too. There's people have told me to maybe work on a book. That's something that I'm actually. People have given me ideas. I'm pretty sure there's people listening to the show. I have friends that follow me, and I'm working on the name of a book, but I just don't have an author or a publisher to do that. But maybe later on there might be. If there's an opportunity, I'm gonna take it.
Right.
It's like what I give out. It's what you give. It's what you receive back. But you get tenfold back of the good energy that you give out, and you get more than what you've given out. So it's kind of given. It's a give and take. Is how you put it.
Outstanding. So, talking to other psychics, most psychics will say their average is about 80% accurate. What would you say? Would you agree with that, or do you think it's less, more?
Are you talking about all psychics in general?
Yeah.
Depending on how gifted they are, if they're really naturally born gifted, I would say maybe 95 to 97%. Not 100%, but somewhere between 90 to 95% most of the time. There might be times where you're off like 85%, but I mean, it just depends on how your readings are. Me, I've heard people that I've been accurate with all my readings, but I guess the readings speak for themselves. I don't rate them, but I've heard different things from other people that I read, friends and their friends and stuff like that. So my readings are accurate, but I don't rate it like 95 or 96 or nothing like that. I just do what I gotta do, and then people give me the feedback. So
okay. So you have some people that call themselves psychic, some call themselves medium, some call themselves a psychic medium. What's the difference there?
Well, to me, the difference with the psychics is more like sense, feel, sense, touch is more like your five senses, where you could it's more of beyond your five senses. I mean, of course, you can see, smell, like just your normal senses, but it's tapped into a higher vibration. So it's like you see things in your head, or you see images and stuff like that, and your sense of smell is very high. Your sense of hearing is extremely high, more than normal. And then with the medium part, it's a little bit of psychic, but it's more of talking to the dead and describing, or when you want to talk to a loved one, you can describe them and relay messages to you from the client to the one that was asking a question about connecting to their brother, their sister, their mom, and so forth.
Okay, and real quick, it's because I know you say you're a clairaudient, a clairsentient, and a clairvoyant. Can you go into the different clairs and what their abilities do for them?
I think to me, the clairvoyant is more like images, pictures, flashes. It's like you can even mix it up with remote viewing, so it's a little bit of it's within that clear, but it's hard to tell the difference. Most people can't even tell the difference. And then clairaudient is more of I guess just hearing your things that other people can't hear, and then clairsentient is just picking up thoughts and reading people. It's like that telepathic kind of gift with the clair, if that makes any sense.
Okay. And what's your most interesting experience as far as being a psychic? Have you ever had communication from aliens or Bigfoot or anything outside the normal realm as far as spirits go?
Yes, I have. I've been, as a matter of fact, I was an abductee. I was abducted very young, and I remember it to the day. So, yes, I've had encounters with ETs. As far as Bigfoot, no, but I know that they do exist.
Okay. And so how do you see being a psychic medium helps you in the paranormal field?
I guess in the paranormal field, if their house is haunted, I like doing walkthroughs in people's houses or haunted locations. So my senses pick up the dead and the psychic part aspect. So it's kind of like I'm doing the mediumship and the psychic part. And then sometimes, depending on, I'll get like information depending on where I'm at and stuff. So I think it's with the psychic and the medium, and along with my other gifts, when I go into a location, I use all the gifts all at once. So it's all just coming out as I'm doing paranormal investigations, and that's what I do. I love residential cases too. It's not just places that are popular and stuff. I like doing paranormal cases too with people's houses, and there's a few people that I've done, and I'm not giving their names out, but that's what I've done, and I just love what I do, and I use my gift in that aspect too. And I think it benefits me a lot, and benefits the client too.
Now, can you read everybody, or have you been like blocked before, where there's just nothing you get off of someone?
Honestly, with the success I've had, I've been able to read everyone that I came across, except for maybe one person. I can't remember how long ago, but that was maybe I was a little off, with what I picked up, but. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was something that I did pick up from someone else around them. So it was kind of a little off with that person. Because it was done where I've done pictures where people will send me a picture of a person and stuff like that. Because I can read pictures like psychometry, so I can do that too. So I read like a picture or an object. But most of the times I've been able to read everyone. There's not one person I haven't been able to read except maybe just one person's relative. That was only just once.
Oh, okay, so you've never gotten like a major blank spot for somebody?
No.
Okay.
Okay, Vivian's got a question in the chat room. Are you just an investigator, or do you actually help people when doing investigations?
I do both, Eric. I do both. And if they ever need my services, they can call me up and I'll help them. It's something I love to do.
When you're helping someone, how do you help them? Do you actually pass over spirits? And have you ever encountered an entity that just wouldn't leave?
From the times that I've worked on cases, no, I haven't came across anything like that. Not yet, at the moment. So, yeah. But everything else, I've been able to cross them over and stuff like that. So, yes, I have been able to do that and just tell them telepathically, not to be afraid of the light. So, yes, there's a few times I've had to do that, too.
Okay. Yeah, and she's asking now, how do you help? How do you help clients with paranormal issues?
With that, I think it's kind of depending on the case. If it's more demonic case, I usually have like other friends with me. But I'm very careful with certain things. I've done maybe like one or two cases I've done, but I wasn't too involved in it, but I did help them in some way. And then anything that was out of my realm, I gave them like a demonologist or someone that I knew to give them that feedback of demonology, of a demon or something like that.
So, and that's encouraging me to hear you say that you can actually, you know your limits, and you can actually know when you can't handle it. You have people that you can go to help you.
That's refreshing.
It is.
Yeah.
Because how many times I've heard, I can handle everything. Oh, yeah, bullshit. And you see it on paranormal TV shows all the time. They don't help anybody. They just say, well, you need to go find a shaman, or you need to go find a... No, it doesn't work that way. It's refreshing to hear you say that.
So when you go on investigations, or when you go to someone's residence or do remote viewing, is there anything you do to protect yourself? Like, do you believe in grounding and shielding?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do, and I have different protection techniques, and that's the thing, Eric. I didn't tell you this, but I also am into the crafty stuff, which I do protection, like candles and stuff. So I do protection of like the witch era. So there's different ways that I'll put a stone in my pocket, or I'll put like herbs on me and stuff like that. So it just varies where I go. It varies. I don't always do the same thing. I always change up before I even go. And most of the times I even get premonitions of what I need to do before I go to a location. So that helps me.
So I got to ask you, what's your favorite stone?
I don't have anyone in particular. I think the one that's, to me, was very effective is the amethyst. That's one of my favorites, and the clear quartz. But there's not other stones that are in particular that I'm favorite for. I love all the. Yes, I love all of them.
See, our team always use black tourmaline. Black tourmaline to me is the strongest of protection. It dispels negativity.
Not all of us.
Not all of us.
Well, not all of you. No,
some of us it won't stay near.
You're Native American, so of course not.
I prefer the Rolling Stones.
Oh, jeez.
The Rolling Stones, okay.
Hey, if anything's gonna make it through a paranormal experience, it's gonna be Mick Jagger.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. So, do you have a favorite herb?
Well, I don't have a favorite herb. I usually, when I do the candle magic, I do like rosemary and lavender most of the times, but I mix up different things, and I have different scented oils too. But that, I usually keep that confidential. But some people do ask me for stuff, especially if the ones that know me. They're like, I know you're more than just a psychic. But that, I just do that on the side, and that is kind of like, I don't charge very much for candle stuff. So it's like $5 or maybe $10, depending on how many candles they want. So, and I do that I do some of that work here in my room too. So.
Yeah, and I'd agree. I use different stones and herbs for depending on the circumstance. And so but I do like rosemary. I think rosemary is probably about the one of the better ones as far as dispelling spirits and whatnot.
I just remember when I first joined you going on cases, you put that oil on my forehead, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
No, but like being a Catholic and not being involved in the paranormal before that, I had no idea what you're putting on my forehead.
Right.
Friend.
It special blends.
Yeah.
Friend.
I didn't think we were that good of friends at that point, but
Right. Yeah. So personally, to me, sage is a Band-Aid. To me, sage is not going to remove everything. And I want your opinion. Because you see all these different opinions of, oh, no, you need to run in and sage. Do sage now. What's your opinion of sage?
I think sage is like to cleanse and remove negativity. But it's always good to mix it up. For me, that's funny you mentioned that, because I think if you add more to the sage, it becomes more powerful and more intense. So if you want to mix up sage with sweetgrass, or like cedar, it gives it more of a, and I'm actually hearing this, an amplified tenfold of energy to it. I think the sage, don't get me wrong, it does work very effective, but sometimes you need to add a little bit more of a kick, especially with demonic cases, because demons don't like sage, but if you give them a little bit of sweetgrass and cinder, they hate it. They don't like that smell. They don't like it. So just for that FYI, in case you didn't know that, mix up your sage and you'll be surprised what results you get.
Mm-hmm. And I agree.
So you said that you do remote viewing. Do you also do astral travel or?
Yes, I do. Yes, ma'am. I do. As a matter of fact, that's funny you said that because I astral project too. I actually bilocate too. It's almost like astral projecting, but it's kind of like where I go, like I'm like in my sleep, I know where I need to go. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's weird. I can't explain it. That's just the best way I can explain it.
So you can look at a picture, lock onto that person's energy, and be in their location simultaneously. Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how our team used to run. So yeah, I completely get it. Let's see. So have you found any conflict from paranormal teams, the psychic questioning your validity?
At the moment, not really. I haven't really came across anyone that I can recall. Not at the moment.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
So you see a lot of conflict in the paranormal.
Yes.
You have some that say, "Oh, I don't believe in psychics. It's all got to be science." But they don't have a scientist on the team. So how the hell are they doing science? To me, you don't have a balanced team unless you actually have a scientist on the team and mixed with a psychic. That's a balanced team.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with that. Yes, I agree with that.
All right. So Kayla already asked you about protection. How do you feel when those who claim to be psychic are proven to be frauds with legal and criminal ramifications, and how does that affect you?
So to me, I don't. I don't discriminate.
I'll use an example. Sylvia Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia Brown was seen as this great medium, a great psychic, until the specific case that came out where she told the family that the kids were dead. Well, the kids, in fact, weren't dead. They were actually locked up in a basement. So the family stopped looking for them because Sylvia Brown said they were dead.
Okay.
And then of course here locally we've had psychics that they did a palm reading and they got accused of $10,000 embezzlement. So you have the legal ramifications. So when you hear about that in the news, what does that affect you at all as a psychic?
Honestly, I don't discriminate anyone because I think Sylvia Brown was good. But this is what I've always believed, and like I was telling you before the show started. To me, I want to say she was legit, and she's going to have her days. She's going to have her off and off days. As far as being a fraud, I don't really feel like she was, but everybody's wish to their own opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think the more that you get, I guess, well-known or renowned psychic or whatever however you want to label yourself as, I know most people start to get bullied because of jealousy and envy. So that's the best answer I can give you. I personally feel, to me as an individual, I don't feel like it affects me. The only thing that I know that I have to do when I hear that crap, I just say, you know what? I just uplift my game and I say, you know what? I'm gonna put psychics. And I'm gonna put a good name for psychics, and that's what I do. I put a good name for us because there is ones that are frauds, and I feel like the ones that are legit, we have to work harder so people can come to us when they really need a legit psychic or one that's real good at what they do. So in some way, it does affect me a little bit, but not like normal, like 100% affect me. It just, the only thing it does is just, it motivates me to do better and more.
Okay. So, you get predictions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, we did a prediction show in December of 2019 about 2020, and we, looked at Nostradamus, we looked at several different prediction sites and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Did you see 2020 coming?
Honestly, I did. But I just felt like this year was supposed to be good. I still believe that in my heart. I want to believe it, even though there's a lot of with this virus, but I still believe that it's going to be a good year for people. It's just that we're being tested, and I'm being tested with a leap of faith, and that's why I think this coronavirus happened just to pop out of nowhere.
So who's testing us?
If you want me to go there, I can.
Yeah.
But oh my God, you really want me to go there, Eric? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The government.
You
I'm
think the
just gonna leave
government's
it there.
testing us?
Yes, and there and then
So you hear
the government.
Here's the thing, though. You hear two sides to the coin. You hear, the conspiracy theorists over here going, "No, they're not. They're actually trying to take our rights away, and it's turning into a police state." Because I mean, trust me, I see all the conspiracy bullshit. And then you hear the other ones going, "Yep, once they take those rights away, they're not going to give them back."
Exactly. And I believe that too. I think everything as what we know as freedom is going to change, and that's the process of it, and that's the thing that we're going to have to adjust to. A lot of people don't believe, they don't see. How can I put it? They don't stand back and observe of what really is going on with this virus. And to me, I mean, I'm not a person that talks about politics, but since you brought that up, I'm going to tell you like this. To me, I feel that virus was a distraction for the election. That's one theory I have. And then the other theory is there's too much of a population, so they want to get rid of people. So that's why they did what they did.
Okay, I can somewhat get on that with the global side of it. But Vivian's got a good point. So this is a global situation. It's not just the United States. So I could see them trying to, and you see it. They have politicized it, and they've taken advantage of the situation, possibly with Trump. But this is a global pandemic. It's not U.S. caused.
But she's saying which government? That's easy to answer. Bilderberg.
It's global elite. That's where I would go with it.
Yeah.
If I was to take the stretch out on the conspiracy side, it would be not the Bilderbergs, whoever's above the Bilderbergs.
Like, this has worked out honestly great for a lot of countries for their governments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the government.
One, not so much. Okay. Italy's having issues. But by the end of it, they might have a new government. So,
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I mean, to me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not into politics, but to me, I just feel like I just let everything show itself, but I'm not into it. I mean, there's times where I do pay attention to it, but I'm like, that's not something that I mess with. I usually just do the psychic part of the aspect. And I've had people ask me different questions and stuff like that, but that's really about it. I really don't touch the subject very much, but when I do, it's I have a very, very outspoken mind of what my belief system is in that aspect, and I just don't go there.
Right.
Okay.
So politics and religion are the biggest causes of war, so I get that.
For sure.
So when you do a reading, what is your process? What's involved? Can you walk us through that?
Okay, say it again. What's the question?
Psychic reading. When you do one of those, can you walk us through your process of what you have to do to prepare yourself, to prepare your client, to actually who you're contacting, that type of thing?
Well, usually if they message me on Messenger, I just tell them what days are they available. Like if they're gonna send me money in the mail or whatever, I just tell them a date and we set a time. And I do it I won't get it once I get whatever they send me in the mail. Then once I get that, I receive it and I read them. Now, if it's just if they can't send me money, then sometimes I'll just do a reading just to give them a little example of.
Okay, so you have to actually physically have one of their items in order to read.
No, not really. I can read people without. I mean, but there's times where people, I ain't gonna lie to you, there's people that will just ask me, and some of them are very legit to where they'll ask me how much do I charge? And there's some of them that I ain't gonna lie to you, they came across and they'll say, you know what, I want to pay you for your reading. And then others, they just won't pay, but I still give them a reading. But I just won't give them a full reading because it takes a lot of energy for me. And then, especially when I'm very in tune all the time with that, my vibration goes higher, so I use a lot more energy when it comes to like doing a full blown reading. And then once I get the reading done, what I do is I ground myself and put a protection of a bubble around me. Then I call them. And then once I do that, then I ask them, do you have any questions? If there's any specific thing you want me to tune into? And if they say no, then they say, I just want a general reading, and then I just go right into it. I go right into it.
Okay.
So it's like I'm tuning in.
How much do you generally charge for a full reading?
Well, it depends. I think like for the cheapest you can get is $45 for 45 minutes, but I do time myself. Now, if you want an hour reading, that's $60 for 1 hour.
Okay. And how many readings can you do a day?
I never really time myself, but I think in one day I remember doing when before this quarantine came, and one day I want to say like I did 2 or 3 readings a day.
Okay, that's about
Yeah.
average. Because like you said, it takes a lot of energy to do a reading. So 3 is about the average for a real reader.
Yeah.
So you are a clairvoyant.
Yes, sir.
So you're able to see spirits?
Able to see what? What was that question? 'Cause
You're
the phone was
able
going.
to see spirits?
Yes, I am.
So can I ask what you actually, can you describe what you see?
It varies depending if you want to ask, like if it's a loved one, I can describe them, and I'll get like images or flashes or something that they would know. And it depends if you want to do like a reading with me, then I would be reading your loved one, and then whatever the loved one tells me to tell you, and then I'll describe like if there's something that they want me to, so you'll know that it's them. They'll tell me, oh, this is what she baked, or this is what he baked, and so forth. So I go into details of what only you would know that I shouldn't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think what he's more asking is like, do you see the actual person standing there, or do you see them in light form, or that kind of a thing?
Well, oh yeah, you're talking about if I see them physically. There's times where I do, and sometimes I just see like I see them in my mind, and they still come out the same. So sometimes they come out as like an apparition kind of form, or I'll see them like in the corner of my eye, and I'll describe them, and then they'll tell me, well, this is what I need to tell my loved one. So yes, I do see them at times too.
Okay. Now, I know with a lot of different people, when they talk about seeing spirits, there's also certain smells that are connected with certain spirits. Like, if your grandfather used to smoke like a pipe or something of that nature, they have the smell that comes with it. Do you get that as well?
Yes, that's funny you said that, because there was this one time I kept smelling roses in here, and at the time I couldn't think of anything until like I realized that it was for somebody else. And there's
Cool.
And then there's even one time where I am not kidding you, I could even taste it. Like I could taste it in my mouth, and I was like, okay, this is different. But that was only happened to me like once or twice, where I'll get like a taste of something, and then I'll get like kind of name of what I'm tasting in a way, like spiritually. And then they're like, oh, well, that's what my grandmother or my grandpa used to make me, depending what I get. But that's happened maybe like once or twice. And it kind of freaked me out because I was like, okay, this is different. So I've had that a few times where I most of the time I'll smell it and I'll know where the it just blows my mind where I get these weird smells. And then there's even times where we'll go somewhere and I'll get like a smell and say like we're going somewhere and the window's closed and I can still smell like tamales or chips or cake, and I'm like, what? And then like sometimes I find out it has to do with the person I'm meeting. Like if they want to talk to me and they want to talk to their loved one, well, can you tell me what they used to cook, or stuff like that. So I've had questions like that. So yeah.
Okay, Vivian's in the chat. She wants to know, do all your readings center on deceased loved ones, or can you read people without involving spirits?
Yeah, I can do both.
Have you ever, so this is off the cuff here, have you ever been asked to find or communicate or track passed on pets? Have you ever communicated with animals?
I know I can do it, but I've never been asked. That is a good question, Eric, though. I've never been asked, but I know I can communicate with animals. Telepathically and talk to them. But I haven't been asked, so that's a very good question.
Well, because we've had cases where we actually have seen ghost cats, ghost dogs, things of that nature. So I know animals have spirit, and it depends, though. Do you think there's specific breeds that are more prone to being spirits?
I think they're all the same. In some way, just depends on, like, if you want to talk to a certain dog, then I'll just get an image in my head with my gifts, and I'll be able to tell what kind of dog it is and stuff. So yeah, there is specific breeds, but most of the time I can pick up on them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do anything in the dream realm? Like, do you do dream interpretation or any of that?
Yes, yes, I can do that. I haven't done that in a long time, but yes, I can do that too.
Okay. Is there anything that you've come across that you just can't do? Like, you've tried to do it and it's just not possible for you?
At the moment, no. I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think as you're asking me the question. Because I do channel spirits. I do channel, like, when I see stuff. I've even done past life readings too. That's been accurate also. But anything that I haven't done, I can't do. Not at the moment, but if there is something, I will let Eric know, because at the moment, that is another good question, because anything I haven't done, no. Everything I've been able to do, and I've been blessed in that aspect. Yeah.
So you can, have you ever been able to do any faith healing?
Healing, yes, I have, with my hands too. It runs in my family. Like, we have healing abilities too. Yes.
So, do you practice Reiki at all?
Do I prep for? Is it okay? What did you say again? Do you prep for what?
Reiki?
I believe I know I can do that too. I just haven't tried it. As a matter of fact, I have a friend that's been teaching me a little bit of techniques, and I've been doing that for myself and sending energy to people. So there's a few times I've done it, maybe like once or twice.
Now, I know that there's a lot of psychics and a lot of people that have different abilities that have other issues that come along with that too. So, have you ever, like, caused power outage or power failure or anything like that with your abilities?
The only thing that I've noticed is that, that's what you said, that I've had, where I've had even my own room with a ceiling fan, because I have the ceiling fan right above me where I see it flicker at times, and then you can hear zzz or something like that. I've had things flicker, and then on some radio shows I've known that I've had always problems with technical difficulties when I get on the show, depending on where my vibration is when I'm doing readings and stuff. So yes, there's times where I've affected it, but it's funny that you mentioned that, because people have told me that my energy is so high that that I'm affecting the electronics and everything around me, but in how can I say, in a human standpoint, I don't think of it until, like, I see it, in front of me. Like, I've looked at, like I was looking at my lights earlier and they just flickered. So that's only telling me that my energy is very high. So there is times where I've affected some things, and yes, I have.
Now, when spirits come to you, do you have to invite them in, or is it like it can be 2:00 in the morning and it's, hey, here I am, here, listen to me? Like, is there any way that you use or technique that you use to block them out when you wouldn't necessarily want to be speaking to them?
Like, if you're talking about if spirits want to bother me and there's different times of the night, no, I've never done that. I've never blocked anything out, because I'm like an open book. Mm-hmm. I'm always tuned in, so I've never, like, turned my switch off. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I've had people say, come on, you need to meditate to turn off your gift. I'm like, nope. Because for me, I never know when you're going to get a message from a loved one or a disaster.
Okay, Angelica's got a question in the chat room. Have you ever practiced telekinetic abilities?
That, to be honest with you, no, I haven't. That I can tell you truthfully, no.
Okay.
So, what's your thoughts on poltergeists?
I think that's more like it's almost like a PK manifestation. Sometimes I think when some of the poltergeists do have with psychic ability, I think it's some of it's like when there's overwhelming them, they create the poltergeist, and that's why I say 9 out of 10. It's most of the time it's different. It's completely different. But most of the time there is activity. But I want to say maybe like 9 out of 10. I want to say that some of the poltergeists does have to do with psychic abilities because it's overwhelming, and then they create what's not really there. They create their own nightmare. They create their own terror, all that other stuff. But you got to be able to tell the difference, and that's when the psychic is going to walk in and tell you, "Well, you're psychic and you created all this." And the psychic would be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one 100%, because I'd say 9 out of 10 cases involving poltergeist, the first question I always ask is, do you have any prepubescent children in the home? Because it's usually when their energy manifests.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever had any dealings with, like, fractured spirits, or do you believe in fractured spirits?
Are you talking about like entities? Because I've never heard of that one before. That question that you asked me. What do you mean fractured? Can you be more specific?
Usually, if somebody were to die in a catastrophic way or something of that nature, it can cause what's called a fractured spirit, to where you have two different sides of the same spirit.
I probably have, but I just read the energy as what I see it. But I probably have. I just can't give you a definite answer. I'm being honest with you. I just want to say it's kind of, I want to say like a maybe. I probably haven't acknowledged it, but that is a good question too, because you're catching me with all these good questions. And I appreciate it because now it's making me think. I'm like, oh my God. And I love this. I love these interviews because it's something that as I'm learning about my gifts, I'm growing as I'm going along. So maybe later on, we have another interview. There might be something that's new from now till maybe 5 years from now. You never know, because things can advance and increase depending on the gifts. So yes, those are very good questions.
Okay, and as I asked you before the show, what tarot decks do you use? I know you do tarot readings. So explain to the listeners what tarot decks you use.
Well, the tarot deck I use is the Psychic Oral Tarot from John Holland. That's one of them. The other one is a classic tarot. That one I use a few times. And then maybe another deck, which I didn't mention, which no one knows, but I'm going to mention it now. It's the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot. That's another deck. And I was drawn to that one for some odd reason. But as far as that goes, I've used more of the Psychic Tarot than all of them put together.
So when you go on investigations or when you do anything, do you use any other tech? Like, do you use spirit boxes or EMF?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, I have a spirit box it's called the SPK7, the one that was on Ghost Adventures. I have that one.
Okay.
One of those, and then I have a K2 meter too. So yes, I do scientific. I use what paranormal people take with them. Yes.
So, do you find the spirit box ever transmitting something differently than what you're picking up on?
I kind of like to get my own validation. So there's times where it kind of like picks up something that I didn't pick up, and then there's times where I remember sometimes it did pick up something that I said, but well, I'll say it first, and then they'll pick it up afterwards, or they'll say it, and then I'm like, that's what I was just thinking, So there's a few times I've done that, and I ain't gonna lie. I don't even know how many spirit box sessions I've done on the radio shows I've had, but yeah, I've done maybe like I would say like 4 or 5, I think, if I remember right.
Okay.
I lost count. To be honest with you,
So Vivian wants to know. You use a voodoo tarot deck. Do you practice voodoo, or have you ever practiced voodoo? Or is it just a deck you're interested in?
Oh, that was a deck that I'm interested in, and with voodoo, there's a past life there with me, so I am connected to voodoo, but I don't do I don't like do like any of the dark stuff, but I use it in different aspects. I do use hoodoo also for you. So I do that too. So, but I do have a past life. Just for you to know, Eric, in my past life I was in New Orleans, and I'm not even gonna tell you anything else.
So, do you do past life readings as well?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
What's involved with that? What's usually, what do you usually find out and be able to tell someone out of a past life reading?
I guess it's just like the regular reading, but I just have to tap into another level. It's a totally different vibration. It's about the same, but it's just I can't describe it. It's just when you're in the moment, I can't really describe it. That's gonna be kind of hard for me to answer because to me, I think all the readings are the same. The only thing is that, oh, you know what? Let me take that back. The way I do it is, just something just trying to block me out. That the way I do with the past life readings, I go to the Aztec records, and then that's how I do them. That's one technique I do use. I haven't done that in a while, but I use the Aztec, the records of the Book of Life, and I look at your charts, and then I see what's going on with the reading.
What's your opinion on portals? Do you believe that they exist?
Yes, I do. I believe there's portals, vortex, dimensions. Yes, I do.
Okay. And have you ever personally been through any or to any other planes of existence or dimensional?
Probably in the astral plane, but in the physical plane, no. Like if I walked through a portal and then I didn't come out, no. But I can see them. I could see like the difference. It's because I see them as like. Because as a matter of fact, I have a neighbor that and before he lived there, me and my cousin we walked. But this was when nobody lived there. We walked on the property, and we did pick up a portal, and we just backed up because we're like, we're not going through this, walking this way because there is a portal there. Yes. So. Okay,
and Vivian has a question. What's your opinion of spirit boards?
Oh my God, that I just don't like. I think they're bad. It's just I think to me you're just looking for trouble if you mess with a spirit board. But everybody's wish to their own. I wouldn't mess with that.
So,
where my gifts come from. That's why I think my gifts were God given from God. So I don't feel like I need to go that route. And I know everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but whoever messes with the Ouija board, you have to be very experienced and know what you're doing. And don't make it a habit of making it to where you use it all the time, because things can come bad out of it. So yeah.
not Ouija boards, spirit boards.
Well, spirit boards to me is the same thing. I wouldn't mess with them.
So okay, just to explain. So you got a Ouija board, which is simply a wooden board with a planchet. So a spirit board is very similar, but use a pendulum in place of a planchet. You have a lot more control.
Well, that one I kind of feel is more angelic. If you're gonna use a pendulum, I feel it's more better and it's more safer than the Ouija board.
Okay. So on that, what other forms of divination do you use? Have you ever done fire scrying, water scrying? Used a black mirror?
Yes, I do. I work the elements too, because I work with all elements. Yes, I do.
And have you ever done a group connection where you've gotten together with other psychics or mediums and done a group read?
Yes, we actually do that on Messenger. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Nice.
So, what is the difference, in your opinion, between a psychic and a medium?
I just think, and the hearing, the sense is a higher vibration, like your five senses are higher than and stuff like that. And then the medium is more like talking to spirits and crossing the spirits over. Yeah.
So, what's the difference? Honestly, between when it comes to the protection side, when it comes to the safety side, between you using a spirit box and a spirit board?
I think that you probably need to take precautions the same. I don't see it should be any less than another. If you choose to go that route, I would say that you need more protection. I would say that you would need stones and make sure that you're grounded and that you are protected and you're sheltered. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Sheltered with your protection. So just make sure that before you do that, I think your protection techniques shouldn't change.
Okay, it's crazy. So I've been asked this by people a lot. Do you see a danger in watching paranormal TV shows?
Depending on what you're watching, that's a very good question. My personal opinion, I want to say yes and no. It's kind of depending on if you're more to seeing like scary movies or seeing a paranormal show that's terrifying you. I wouldn't recommend watching it because you're more likely gonna feel something from it. So if you're not comfortable with, say, there's a TV show like with Ghost Adventures and he's talking about a demon, I wouldn't watch it. I would just wait till the episode is over and then wait till the next show comes. Because for me, I wouldn't watch it. I guess it's more, you're more prone to to feel something when you're watching that episode. Or that's just an example. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't recommend watching shows unless that's more of you have to be comfortable in your own skin. Just put it that way.
So you see the fear side of watching either a horror movie or the paranormal TV. It's the fear that's bringing in the lower vibration.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. And that makes sense. So we have about 5 minutes before we go to break.
I want to wait for till we have more time for that question.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to. Do you have a quick question?
So you told us you first discovered that you had these abilities when you were 5. How did that come about?
Well, it's because I started talking to spirits when I was little. When I started walking outside, I was actually talking to someone. I just don't remember his name at that time. But I remember talking to him, and he just told me this and told me that, and that's how I knew that it was different. And then there was things that I saw that my grandma did. She did like protection stuff over the house. So yeah, that's how I knew that it was. I just knew that we were different in the family. So that's how I knew, and I researched it on my own. Older, I was able to research a lot of things. So yeah, I kind of got like validation on a lot of things that I knew that I was different, because of my family, because it's inherited.
So what's your family heritage, and how were you raised? What was the belief system you were raised in?
I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
And I was like religious based, but I was also very spiritual. My family is very spiritual, like with candles and protection and the Lord's Prayer. Just like a normal Catholic person, but it's just more of a always to protect yourself and never to be what is the word I'm looking for? To never let your guard down. That's how I was raised, and to respect people.
Okay. And what's your heritage?
I'm Native American. I'm Cherokee, as a matter of fact. That's from my mom's side of the family.
Okay.
So.
And yeah, I've got some other topics to bring up, but like Cole, I want to wait till the second hour.
Well, then let's go to our first break. Before we do, I just want to remind everyone, you've got one more hour to get your entries in for our month of May giveaways. So make sure you send us an email at s4radiowinner@gmail.com, and with your paranormal experience or any story that you know of regarding the paranormal. Just send it to us along with your email address and your name, and you'll be entered for one of our S4 swag bags that we are sending out to people this month. So with that, here is Cryptamnesia with Poltergeist.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Thank you. And you know what? Y'all got me good with the questions. I like that. So how many minutes? How many minutes do we have?
I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I'm running here tonight. Just burn me like a witch and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. I must have 1,000 souls trapped inside. 1,000 souls that are haunting in my eye. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die. I am your poltergeist, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. I'll eat your dreams while you immerse in all of your hate. Just waste away like you're destined by your pride. I'll be alive but I'm dead to watch you die. So go ahead and take my life, I dare you to try it. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, you're caving in, the loss of sleep keeps you obsessing on your pride. But in the end, you let me in. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I'm running here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die. I am your motherfucking. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist.
Welcome back to S4 with
host, Eric Cooper.
And welcome back to S4. And tonight we have Chris Garcia, a well-renowned psychic medium. And let's get right back into it. I'm going to start off with, what is the probably most scariest experience as a psychic you've had?
That's a good question. I've never encountered one. Maybe similar something was when I was doing a reading for someone, and I did feel like, oh, you know what? Yeah, there was one where that was, oh my God, that wasn't even when I wasn't even on the radio. I remember on the phone and I was talking to them, and it was like you could hear the demon talking, like it was growling at me. That's maybe like once or twice that's happened, and it kind of freaked me out because I was like, did you hear that? And we both heard it on the phone, and I knew that she had brought something home with her. I don't talk to her no more. That was like when Facebook first came out. Mm-hmm. That kind of like didn't like scare me, but it just terrified me to where kind of like startled me in a way, because I was like, wow, this is different. So there was a few times where I was like startled, but I wasn't like terrified where I was under my blanket or nothing like that. So yeah, it just kept me on guard. Like wow, they can come in different frequencies. So yeah.
Okay, on the flip side of that, what is the probably happiest or most exciting case you've had?
Man, that's a good one, Eric. I love all the cases. There's not one that I love more than another. I think that I label all of them as all of them are good to me. Mm-hmm. Even the ones that kind of like, the ones that were like, they didn't listen and we still told them and we got the validation. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the cases that I've done, from the missing to the paranormal to the psychic medium part, I loved all the readings. There's not one that I can pick that stands out more than another.
And how many cases on average do you do?
Like, if you're talking about like everything in general, or just missing cases?
So paranormal cases. What's your average in a month?
I want to say like that. Last time I remember, I want to say about 7.
7 cases a month. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch up to missing people.
Okay.
So, do you feel psychics can be an asset in finding missing people, and how do they get listened to, or how do you get listened to when it comes down to it? Someone comes out to you, whether it's a family member or a friend of the family, or even law enforcement. Have you ever been reached out to by law enforcement as a psychic to help with missing people? Yes,
there was twice where I was reached out. And then there was 3 times I was reached out by family because they was recommended or referred from someone that knew me. So yes.
And how do you get validation? And I ask that because we've had missing people's cases in the past when we ran our team, and
I think
it's hard to know who to go to when you have.
Information.
When you have information or an idea of where they might be, because law enforcement usually won't listen to a paranormal team.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it. Yeah, and that is sad, because for me, I've always gone to where there's validation through the family. There was one time where I did talk to a detective. As a matter of fact, they're on my Facebook. I have like 2 detectives I worked with on this case, but I haven't heard from them because I don't know what's going on with the family. They've been just acting kind of strange. But with the validations, with the 2 cops that are detectives, they do it like they're in their spare time. So when they're looking for missing people, they're not wearing the badge or anything. They just act like volunteers, but they're actually helping to go and search. So there was a few times where I've helped them, and I was validated too.
Okay. So, have you ever heard of Missing 411 by David Paulides?
No, I haven't.
So Missing 411 is an organization run by David Paulides, who has a law enforcement background, and it's missing people from national forests. There's like thousands of people that come up missing every year, globally actually, but he focuses a lot on nationwide. And these are unusual cases where people will be on a camping trip, they'll be walking down a trail, and they'll just come up missing. Almost not quite right in front of people, but they'll be talking, and the person missing will be like in the back of the group hiking up a trail. There's no drag marks. There's no no blood, no nothing that could be attributed to the mundane. They're just missing. So, what are your thoughts? It's going to be hard for you to answer because you're not familiar with Missing 411, but do you think it's possible? I don't think Bigfoot's taken them. That's just I don't see it. I believe aliens could be abducting some of them. But do you think it's possible that portals could be taking these people?
Honestly, on a psychic standpoint, I want to say yes. For some reason, I don't know why. I'm being told yes. There is a portal that if it's strong enough, they can go into it and they can't come out. It's like the triangle, the one in the ocean. It's the same thing. People just disappear. Yeah, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm.
So, do you believe there's energy points or hot points on the planet that are just normal portals?
I want to say yes to that too. For some reason, I feel like there is. It's just that you just got to know what points where there's the spots where it's abnormal to, like, once you walk into that portal, you can just say goodbye to this inner dimension. You'll be somewhere else. You'll go back into time of seeing something else. You might even run into Bigfoot or Subsquash or whatever however you want to label what you see.
Ooh, let's talk about Bigfoot. So, what's your thoughts on Bigfoot?
To me, I want to say that is truth to that. I don't believe that it's folklore. I believe it's real true. I do believe that he does exist. Mm-hmm. It's just to encounter one that's very rare. I think if you catch one, I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't even know what to do if I saw him in front of me. I would just sit there like, don't move, because because they're very powerful. They're very powerful. They're like almost like human-like, but they're stronger than a normal person would be.
So what do you think they are? And I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is they are an interdimensional creature, and I base that one on Native American lore. Two, on the fact that people put up cameras and the cameras turn white whenever there's a Bigfoot presence, but they're normal with normal wildlife. Three, on the fact that, well, we'll never find a body, and the fact that you can follow tracks and they just disappear in thin air. So, what's your opinion? What are they?
To me, I want to say they're interdimensional, but I want to say like they're something like apes, related to the apes, like ancestors is what I heard. So that's kind of like they do within that room, but they have the how can I put it? It's kind of hard for them to be discovered, and they have this way of knowing that they don't want to be exposed because they're not supposed to be in our room. And if they do have been seen, they try to avoid being seen because we're not supposed to know that they exist, like fairies. Like, for example, I believe there's fairies out there too. There's fairies all over the world, but it's just they roam like everything else. Like the mermaids, I believe there's a mermaid underwater. I believe in that. Just like I believe in reincarnation too.
Right.
Are there any specific times of the year where you get more spirits coming to you than others?
Well, I mean, most of the time I get them all year long, but I think when I feel them more, I want to say it's like during the fall time. I can feel them like it's like the veil's so thin, it's unreal. So I feel them very strong during like the September, October time frame, all the way till I want to say till maybe February, somewhere around there. So they come stronger there, but I see them all the time. But I think the more stronger is during the Halloween and October time frame.
What about midsummer?
I think there is some in midsummer, but there's the lack of communication, I guess, because they don't like to be seen, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just kind of weird. That's what I feel like. They just don't show themselves very much. If they do, it's very it's like a real quick tour. They just pass right by you, and it's like a real quick flash.
Now, do you believe in ley lines, and do you feel more powerful when you're closer to an active ley line?
Yes.
So what do you feel causes ley lines?
It's almost like electricity flowing through my body twice as much.
No. So what causes ley lines around the planet?
I guess it's just because of the energy. That's the best answer I can give you right now. It's the energy, and there are ley lines to where I want to say, for some reason, I want to say that there is portals in between the ley lines, and there's interdimension beings. Is what I'm being told as you're asking me the question, because I'm asking my guides to what you're asking me. So I'm actually talking to my grandma right now as you're asking me all these questions.
Yeah.
Okay, and Angelica in the chat room has a question, and she says, what advice do you have for aspiring psychics who are new to discovering their gifts?
What do I have to inspire new psychics is just to believe in themselves. Don't doubt themselves. And the first instinct they go with is the correct one. And always remain positive when you read someone. Just make sure that you're protected and grounded, and trust what you get.
So would you say finding a mentor would be beneficial?
A mentor?
Yeah.
Yes, because I, as a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine that I do mentor. So I'm like, some people call me mentors. It's rare that people do that, but to some of my people that I introduce my friends in the chat, I have one friend that he said I was his mentor. So yes, there's mentors that you can benefit.
Okay. Do you feel meditation helps assist with developing psychic abilities?
If it's your preference, I want to say yes. Yes, it does. But for me, I don't have to meditate. But I've been told lately by certain people that are probably listening that to meditate. But I've always known to be psychically grounded and protected, so I don't meditate. I'm just like in the moment. But for people that are learning it, I would recommend them meditating. If they feel like more protected, more secure, I say that yes. I want to say meditation can help them tap into their higher selves.
And do you use spirit guides? And what's your definition of what a spirit guide is?
I want to say a spirit guide is a person that was a human at one time, or it could be a loved one. And then sometimes there's spirit guides that can be like a Native American that are assigned to you. When you come on Earth, every guide is assigned to everyone. And they're there for a certain amount of time. And then if they feel like you've outgrown them, then the next advanced guide takes the place of that guide.
And Vivian wants to know, do you believe anyone can learn to be psychic, or do you think it's a you have it or you don't thing?
To me, I've always felt that the way you can have the psychic abilities is either through near-death experience, okay, and you die and then you come back. I believe that, and then another way is it runs in your family. Now, as far as beyond that, I'm not discriminating anyone, but I do feel that you can be psychic, but it's just going to be a little bit harder to tap into what a daily psychic goes through. So I don't know if that's the right answer to say, but that's what I'm being told to say, because I only believe that the psychics can be either inherited or near-death experience. Now, anything beyond that, I personally want to say my preference to that, I want to say no, because not everybody believes in psychics, and there's just too many skeptics. So I don't want to say everybody's psychic. Maybe they're psychic when they're little, but once that innocence goes, it just goes away.
So have you had an NDE?
Say again?
Have you ever had an NDE?
Have I ever had one? I want to say yes. I just don't remember. There's a few times where I felt like I've died and then came back in the past life. If you're talking about past lives, yes, I have. Now, in this life, there's probably something that I probably blocked that I don't remember. But I do feel that in past lives I've died and come back. So I don't know if that's gone from my past until this lifetime. But I do feel that I have died and came back, like very, very extremely sensitive.
Okay, Dennis wants to know in the chat room, can someone young be influenced psychically to be evil?
To be evil, is that what you said?
Yeah.
With the wrong people, yes. Yes, you can. Because they're young and they're more prone to be targets. And they're not aware of, because they're barely tapping into their gifts. So if they're hanging on the wrong call, they can be influenced by using their gifts to do it for bad and teach them bad. So, yes.
Okay. So, I have different views on shadows.
Okay.
Shadow creatures can be entities. Shadow creatures can be spirits.
Okay.
But shadows could also be spies. And I want to hear your opinion of that. Because I know some, if they know what they're doing, can basically appear as a shadow. Whether, so for example, you pull out in front of somebody that knows what they're doing. They get pissed off at you. And they want to create havoc in your life. So they can actually come to your home and appear as a shadow, or send a shadow, basically, as a spy. These kind of shadows can't interact in an educated manner because they're only there to spy. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, that is a good question, but I do believe that people, if they want to see what you're doing, there's different ways of doing that. There's one way. It's funny you're saying that. This never been asked that question, and that's just amazing that you asked me that. There is scrying mirrors you can use. Okay, with that,
right?
You can visualize, like if you're the person wanting to spy on someone, yes, you can. But to the person that sees you is going to see you as not as an outline of a human being. They will come to you as a shadow. So yes, I do believe that they can spy on you. It's just depending of how strong they are and able to do that. And most times, and I'm gonna throw this out there, Eric. Most people that would do that would probably be witches. I'm just telling you that.
No, you're absolutely right. That's why I asked that. And coming from a paranormal perspective, yes, we have actually handled witches that were acting like that. It's really not hard because it's a matter of an energy trail that you can track that shadow right back to the sender, and then you deal with them respectively. So what else could be a shadow? And how many different shadow types have you dealt with?
As I remember, there's like so many. It's not even. I can't remember. There's just so many. There's some of them. I've seen them like in the corner of my eye. I've seen them during the day. I never really count. I want to say maybe how often a day I see them. I want to say maybe like almost every day. It's and I always feel it's not the same person. It's always someone different that needs to talk to me. So I can't really give you an estimate of how many people come because they do come very often with me. Very often.
Now, have you ever, because you have said that you've worked with other psychics in the past to do different projects and different things that you do, have you ever been or had somebody try to psychically attack you in any way?
Oh my God, that's another good question. Yes, I have. And that's been just recently, to be honest with you. Yeah, but I showed my shelter, protect myself with different things.
Okay. All right. And we have another question from the chat room. And they're asking, are you able to decipher evil spirits from good spirits?
Yes. I could feel their energy. Yes, I can.
Okay. Let's see here. My computer's freezing up here. Oh, I'm losing my train of thought here.
It's not the computer, it's your brain that froze.
Huh?
Old age, man. Old age.
Yeah.
You know what, Eric? I'm going to ask you, now that you mentioned that, I'm going to ask you, with all the stuff that you've done, both of you or everybody that's listening, that's talking to me, have y'all noticed that lately you get tongue-tied and you forget what you were going to say? Sometimes?
All the time. I attribute to old age and PTSD. So let's talk about aliens, because on S4 we talk about UFOs and aliens a lot. That's probably one of our biggest listener bases, UFO and alien. So, how many different races that you're familiar with have contacted you?
I want to say probably like 5.
And do you know which races? Do you know which races they were? Or
no, I don't. But I would just tell just by the features, like the eyes and the color. Yeah, the colors and stuff. So yeah, okay. But I wouldn't be able to label them as what they were labeled as, like how they probably be labeled in a category. But yes, I've been able to see different colors of them.
So, what's your thoughts on their agenda? Or have you ever felt negative or positive from the aliens that did contact you?
I think for me, their agenda wasn't meant to hurt me or to hurt anyone. I think they're here to to see how much technology of what we have, and then as far as being abducted by one, like I was abducted, I feel like they just want to research and know how much we have learned, or I have learned, and others as well. So that's my personal opinion about them.
Okay. And, so there's thousands of races that we know have come or already here, and new ones that do come. Coming from a scientific perspective, we do the same thing to animals. We tag them, we watch them, we do experiments on them. So, is it really bad? It is for humans, yeah, because they don't understand pain. But they cause a lot of trauma on the human side, which is why we get along.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you said that you can read auras. Do you see those in different shades and colors, or how do you see an aura?
I see them in different shades and colors.
Okay, and what is the rarest shade or color that you've seen in someone?
I think the colors that are like more dull, like if it's more like brown, or it would be like an odd color that you're not supposed to see, or something that is going on depending on what kind of trauma they've gone through. So I see like more of the darker colors that you would rarely see. Like if they see like a black aura, then I would see that there's probably something wrong around, or they're going through some trauma, or they're just into something that they're not supposed to be messing with.
Now,
so, yeah.
Do you have to be in person with the person in order to see their auras, or can you do that through remote viewing and through online services?
I can do that online. Online services. Oh my God, I'm getting tongue-tied already.
Okay.
So, when someone comes to you and you see their aura and you can see something's wrong with them, and you do a healing on them, for example, do you see an aura change? Does the color change?
Yes, okay. It does. Yes, it does. And then that's another thing too. Like I'll see like if there's something wrong with their leg, so I can see that. Like then maybe they need to go get checked with the with the doctor. So I'll tell them, I think I see something wrong with your leg because I'm seeing a different color from one part of your body to your leg. That's just an example. So I've been able to do that too, like in medical terms. But I just don't tell them I'm not. I'm just here, the messenger. Just go get checked.
Right.
So I've been able to use that to like scan their body. In other words.
Okay. Cool.
So how you have yourself listed also as a shaman healer? How did you go about becoming a shaman healer? How did that come about?
Well, since I'm very in tune with my native heritage, I've always been connected to my ancestors. So I do that, and I do a lot of healing through shaman work.
But was there any like formal training involved, or?
It just came out naturally for me. Like whatever my guides tell me, I tell them. The native shamans tell me what to do, like my guides. So I do it that way.
Okay.
Okay, so do you yourself keep a medicine bag then?
Yes, I do. I have one with me.
Okay.
Does that have to be charged or rejuvenated or anything like that?
Yeah, I charge it up and I always put like protection and sage it. So yes, I always charge it up.
Okay, and what's your process between readings? So, do you sage your cards? Do you cleanse your cards?
Yes, I do.
In between clients? And
Yes, I do.
What's your process for that?
Like how long I take? Is that what you mean?
What do you
like
use?
How long? Well, I just use like the herbs and then I do like a prayer, and then I use like with my hands. So I do protection circle around them. That only positive is good outcome with the readings that I've done, and to remove anything negative that might be tried to attach to my cards. So it's more of energy work that I do with them, and then I also smudge them too. So yeah.
And do you get visions when you do your tarot readings?
There's a few times, yes, Eric, I've done cards and I'll get like flashes and I'll just pause for a second. I'm like, hold on, I'm getting something. So yeah, that's happened to me too.
Okay. And is there a process you do before you go on a paranormal case? So, for example, if I got a case and we were actually going boots on ground for, because a good majority of our cases were astral. But if I had a boots on ground case, I would take a shower, I would salt myself, I would make sure my stones were charged, things of that nature, before I even got in the car and went boots on ground. Is there a process you use?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And what do you do?
Well, I take a shower like you do, and then I use like spiritual soaps and like with herbs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what is so how many boots on ground cases have you actually done?
About cases like, are you talking about paranormal or missing?
Yeah, paranormal.
Which ones?
No, paranormal cases.
Like physical cases, maybe like one or two. Not really like that many, because over here it's kind of like everything just stopped. One or two or three, around 2 or 3. It's been kind of slow, so that's kind of just.
Well, that's gonna suck for my next question then.
I know.
My next question was going to be, what have you encountered? Because we've dealt with everything from fae to, creatures we can't even describe. We could probably write our own encyclopedia, but what?
Jinn?
Well, have you ever encountered a jinn?
No. I wouldn't even know what that is, but that's what I'm telling you. I would say no, because I don't know what it is, to be honest with you.
It would be the actual entity that the genie traditionally came from.
Okay, yeah, it's a Middle Eastern.
Oh, okay.
A Middle Eastern entity.
No, I haven't.
They stem from the Middle East. They can come here. They can go anywhere. Or watch the horror movie Thinner, and that was a jinn, or the Wishmaster. There we go. That was jinn.
Trickster jinn.
But I've encountered entities, but nothing of what you just said.
They're
from a distance.
They're tricksters.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Are there any?
Well, then
tricksters and manipulators, and they make demons look like kindergartners.
Yeah.
Are there any paranormal teams that you work with specifically?
Well, lately, with everything slowing down, I've worked with my friend Derek. He's in Kansas. I've worked with him maybe numbers of times. I've worked with I can't think of the other team, but there's another one they knew me too. That was twice I worked them. I don't remember where they were from, but I knew them because they talked to me way before. So I've worked with a few, but I can't remember off the names off the top of my head. So yes, I have.
Okay. Your average range of readings that you do for people that contact you, are they mostly concerning love, lives, work, and success in their own lives?
I've had like, yes, that, and I've also had like cases where they'll say, is my house haunted, or I've been feeling this and this and that. So I've been doing a lot of like messenger readings too lately since everything's just quarantine. I've been doing a lot of connecting with people, with new people on Messenger and stuff like that. So yes, I've been doing readings like that, like almost like paranormal, because I can't be there physically, so I do it where they show me the camera and they rotate, and I'll tell them what I pick up. So there's a few times, I ain't gonna lie to you, I've done it like that lately.
Now, I'm not asking you to read us or anything like that, but while you're speaking to us, do you have anything coming through from any of us, like, or is it blanked out, or?
The only thing I get is that you're very open-minded. And then since I've been hearing your voice, I kind of get like you're a psychic sensitive. Okay? And then I kind of get like you are very in tune with your energy. You go in blindfolded. You don't like to go and know nothing. And I'm being told that you tell it like it is. You're very good at what you do. Even though I don't know your name, but I'm being told that you're very angelic, and you do talk to your... Hold on.
So, Dennis...
Okay, you talk to your grandma, and grandpa, sorry.
Dennis wants to know, have you ever sensed one of your natives, one of the ancients, Native American?
Yes, I have. Like way back then, yes, I have. And the energy is very angelic. Yeah, they work with me. Very angelic. It's very extremely powerful.
Okay, so you mentioned angelic. What to you are angelic? Is that angels is in the Christian sense, or the angels another form of positive entity? What are angels to you?
I think like the angels of like Archangel Michael, or I've seen as even shamans and like how do you call them, Indian guides. I see them as angelic too. So everything that's good for a good purpose, I see them as guides too. So depending on what.
So angels are essentially a positive energy.
Yes.
Not necessarily in the religious sense.
No, not just in the religion sense. No.
Okay, gotcha. Is there any? It drives me nuts because, oh my God, 3 a.m. is when everything comes out, and before that it was midnight. Oh my God, the witching hour. Do you see any rise in activity at any specific point in time of the day?
I would say around 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to say between 12 and 3 is when I feel like they're more active, very active.
And do you think there's a difference between investigation during the daytime and the nighttime?
Honestly, if you're very sensitive to the energy, I don't see the energy any different. It's just more, you can see more things during the day, but if you walk into a dark place where it's like they shelter and cover everything, it's just like if you're doing it at night. Like, so if you go into a haunted theater and it's dark, yeah, it's going to be like if you're walking into, like if you're going into the investigation dark. But I don't see it as different. I see it as everything the same. The only thing that might be different is that some spirits might not want to communicate because they're more active at night. That's their realm. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that because it always drove me nuts, all these teams that said, we have to investigate. We can only investigate at night. Well, why? Spirits around you, whether it's day or night, it really doesn't matter. You can go investigate during the daytime and be just as effective as at night. The only difference being it's quieter at night. So you might be able to see and hear your instruments better at night. But that's about the only difference.
Now, is there anywhere, any physical locations that you will not go?
At the moment, not really, because I've been intrigued by going to. I actually want to go to California to go to Alcatraz. So really, no, I don't. Not at the moment. I want to go to Alcatraz.
You're honestly the first person I've ever heard mention Alcatraz, because everyone wants to go to Waverly Hills or these big famous hot spots. And what's the point in going to a hot spot when you already know it's haunted? Honestly, you're the first person I've heard say Alcatraz.
I've always been drawn to Alcatraz for some reason.
Cool. So Dennis is saying in the chat room, he finds 4 a.m. is when the alien presence is the most known to be active. And that's interesting because, you know, when it comes to abductions, it is usually nighttime that you will find the alien side is most active. I don't hear too many daytime abductions that go on. Not saying it's not happening, but most of your more common, more famous cases, and even the cases that we've dealt with involving abduction, have been at nighttime.
But that's the thing. So my thoughts on that are the fact that the ones that are being abducted during the day, because we do see a lot of videos of UFOs during the day.
UFOs, yeah. Agreed.
It is a possibility that they are taking people at that time. Because we have no idea how they transfer people onto a UFO. We really don't.
Well, Star Trek comes to mind. You know, beam me up, Scotty. Yeah.
And if that is a possibility, truthfully...
Well, you know what? I'm going to say something because... go ahead.
If they're doing that, those are the ones that aren't coming back.
That's possible.
I'm done.
Food.
Okay, the only thing I'm going to tell you, and the only thing that I was going to say, and I'm going to add this because this is recently, I want to say like 7 cases, if I remember right. I actually lost count, but I want to say there's 7 recent cases that I've worked with that we keep coming with the dark man or hat man. We've been coming across cases like that where he's just a shapeshifter. One moment you can see him as a spider crawling down the ceiling, and then one moment he talks into a dark black dog. We've came across cases where I ain't gonna lie to you. There's maybe at least 2 or 3 of us that worked on this, and he's been coming out a lot lately. And a lot of people don't even know who the dark man. I call him the dark man, but he's labeled as so many things. It's unreal. It's like, in other words, the best way to label him so you can understand what I'm saying, he's a soul collector. That's the best way to put him.
So you're talking about a reaper or a collector?
Yes. Yeah, the collector.
So
something similar.
And this is going to sound off the wall, but my opinion of the reaper is, he gets the label of being satanic or of being demonic, but honestly, all a reaper is doing is taking people that are going to go anyway. They want to go.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing really negative about that. He's taking you home. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that is true to some point, but this is a different aspect. But it's similar to that. But my aspects, I wouldn't know what to think about that because I kind of feel like to some people he would be kind of like in between. He's in the middle. If that makes sense. I don't know how to put him more. He's not like on the right. He's not on the left. He's more like just right in the middle, like a watcher.
Hold on a second.
Okay. So, with everything that's going on in the world right now, have you had a lot more negative vibes coming in or a lot more positive vibes coming in?
With everything going on, specifically, I've been having a lot of more, between a little bit of both. I've been having with the shows and stuff, positive, but towards me, it's been like a little bit negative. So it's kind of like, and then now if you're talking about in general around the world, I say it's all negative. It's all negative. If you're talking about the global, everything's negative.
So you've had more negative energy coming in than positive energy.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like the yang and the yang, the dark and the white. Yeah.
So with all the crap going on, do you see positive coming in 2020, or what do you see? What do you see coming in 2020?
With all this stuff going on, I see everything won't be done until I want to say till October, November would be the latest or the earliest, and then the latest won't be until maybe February or January.
Okay.
And everything will be.
And I can see that because here all events are canceled for the year, and honestly, I think that's the safest bet because if you compare this to the Spanish flu, the second wave is going to take 3 times as many people as we've seen go today. you know.
Exactly. And that's funny you mentioned that, because I think with this coronavirus, they said that it's just one. But to me, I see it as there's going to be another one coming, and it's going to be stronger.
Absolutely.
It's going to be stronger.
Well, yeah, the mutation factor. I mean,
it's a second wave.
Yeah.
It's a second wave. Yep.
And Darwin's Award's going to win out because, you know, all these ignorant people that, oh, there's nothing really going on. Yeah, okay, go ahead and go out there and act like nothing's going on, and you'll be the next one to go. Me and my family and friends, we're staying the hell home, and we're going to survive. But yeah, so with all the negativity, do you see a rise in paranormal activity, or do you see the same? Because honestly, negative energy brings about negativity. It brings out more entities and whatnot, if you would. But I honestly don't see a rise in paranormal.
Honestly, I want to say it's about a 50-50 chance, to be honest with you. I don't want to say it's like 100% chance, but but the thing is, I want to say the activity is going to be about the same, but you're going to see a little difference in it because of everything all around the world. So I think that more of demons and more of entities feed off of it. So they will kind of like tap into their room, which is a lower vibration. So I'm being told that there will probably be more cases, but it's going to be to where not everyone's going to be able to get the help because not everyone can go out. So I'm thinking that all we can do is just send prayers to the ones that if they need your help, all you can do is just guide them, and and if you can travel, you know, and not take that chance, you know, then you can travel if you choose to. But if you rather just do it on online session, you can just tell them this is what you can do, and then if it gets out of hand, then if it's an emergency, then we will, no matter if the quarantine's here, we will make it an urgent to go and travel to go see you. You know, so.
And there it goes. So how do you see the veil? Do you see any veil? Because I know you mentioned that you see a rise in October, you know, when Halloween's around, Samhain's around. When everyone, to me, I see it more as people are expecting it, so, you know, conscious thought brings it about. How do you see a veil?
I see the veil even getting thinner. I think, to be honest with you, we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of crap, and it's before it gets any better, it's going to get worse. To be honest with you, and that's from a psychic standpoint. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, do you see? Oh, where was I going with this? Do you see more spirits come in trying to communicate with you as a psychic in October?
Yes, and I see, as funny you mentioned that, because I see a lot more cases, and nobody's told me this, but I feel like we're gonna be real busy for even the paranormal people. The paranormal people, it's gonna be very, very busy. Yep.
Do you think psychics are going to be more in demand as more paranormal teams see them as an asset?
Yes, I do. And I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead. I thought you.
So you had mentioned that you had many gifts, and among them you do certain future casting, right?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, so how far can you future cast, or how far is the farthest that you've ever future cast, and how many of your future predictions have been accurate?
I'd say I can see as far as like maybe 3, 4, or 5 years, the most, like 3 to 4 years in advance. Okay. Yeah. I've done that where I've predicted something and then they call me later on. I'm like, oh crap. So yeah, that's happened to me a few times too, but that was way before I met my friends, but this was like long time ago.
Now, do those just come to you just randomly, or do you have to focus hard on something to get an idea of what might happen, or?
No, I just tune in. It just comes to me. It just comes to me. Okay. I don't even have to. Yeah, so.
And Dennis has a question. Why don't more psychics see aliens? Only one psychic I know has an ability to tell spirits from aliens.
So the question is, so
Yeah.
your question is, why do psychics see? Why? Okay, can I put it?
Why don't more psychics pick up on aliens?
I guess it's because their beliefs. I want to say, and then also I also want to say it's part of the alien too, because the aliens pick certain ones. They know who to pick. It's kind of like a meeny, miny, mo, or it's by choice. It's by choice by the alien. It's not by the psychic. It's more by the alien.
Okay.
Yep.
So, do you see a difference in energy between an alien, for example, and a spirit?
Yes, the energy is very, very, extremely high.
Okay. Have you ever tried to remove an alien?
Never encountered one, so I can't answer that. To be honest with you, never encountered one. Just only the abduction that I've abducted. But as far as like being one that was malevolent and being evil, no, I've never had to get rid of one. No.
So a higher vibration will remove an alien, just so you know.
Yeah.
So if you ever have to remove an alien, you just raise vibration and they have to go.
Yeah.
I've heard a line of Reese's Pieces would do the same thing.
Well, Reese's Pieces will work too, but yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, he's getting that from ET. I know where you got that from, ET.
Right. So, what's your opinion of psychics in movies? You have so many different depictions.
Ghost Whisperer, Medium.
Yeah.
You name it.
Do you see any negative repercussions from you tell someone you're a psychic and their response based on what they've seen on TV?
I think with some people that are very in the spiritual realm and very awakened, I don't see it as negative. But the ones that are very skeptic and that they think that our gifts that come from the devil, I think it kind of brings us down because they don't see the whole true meaning of our gifts, that they come from God, not from something evil. So, I mean, in some ways, depending on who you come across, it could be negative because then they're going to make you kind of like doubt yourself or unsure, and it kind of makes you question your insanity of like, okay, if I'm evil, then you're telling me that God is evil because God gave me this gift. If that makes sense.
So, have you ever questioned yourself?
When I first,
because you said the first response is always the right one. But
yes.
Have you ever had that case or that specific situation where you were told something, but you questioned? You had second thoughts.
I had second thoughts, but usually when I've had those second thoughts, I've known that it's not something of high vibration, so I blocked it out. But yes, I've had some second thoughts, but sometimes when I hear that second thought, I can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is just push that away, and then I'll know what's talking to me, and I give them the correct answer. So yeah, there's times where I've had second thoughts where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to say this, and then I hear in my head, they're like, no, that's the wrong answer. Don't listen to whatever that is, because it's negative.
So have you, going back to the pop culture icons of psychics, have you noticed that it's actually a very sexist realm in pop culture, where most of the female psychics are viewed in pop culture as light beings, whereas the male ones are usually featured as demonic entities?
Never really thought of it that way. That is a good question, but to be honest with you, I've never never thought of it that way, to be honest with you.
Like, if you look at past movies, the most well-known psychic for a male is the guy in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Remember the fat guy?
Yeah, that's right.
He is honestly one of the most well-known. I looked that up. And then when you go to female sides, it is
Ghost
Medium
Whisperer.
and Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah, Ghost Whisperer, yeah. Or the Long Island.
Oh yeah, the Long Island chick. I know her.
Do you think that there is a difference between men and women as far as psychic abilities? Like, do you think that one sex might be a little more in tune than the other?
I wouldn't say it's about even.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's about even. Even though there might be more woman intuition, but I think with the abilities with the females and males, I want to say it's about the same. It's like balanced. It's not you have more than the male. Maybe from the female standpoint, depending on relationships, it might be more of the female. But if it's more of in general or other stuff beyond that, it's balanced. I want to say it's even.
So I not quite what Cole asked earlier, but what is your most common question when someone comes to you for what you're reading?
The most common question.
I mean, so is it? And I don't think Cole asked this specifically, but relationships, finances,
Lottery.
huh?
Lottery.
Yeah. Have you ever been asked what the lottery numbers are?
Maybe a long time ago, like maybe about 2 years ago, yes. But I never answered that. Yeah, that was like maybe one guy, but I blocked him because I was like, I don't do that. That's like personal gain. I'm sorry. I don't do that.
I've got a pencil. Oh, okay. So you're not going to tell me what the lottery numbers are. Okay.
That's personal gain. That's about my belief. I don't believe that or give for
I
personal gain.
And that's where the biggest skeptics come from is, oh, if you're so psychic, how come you haven't won the lotto? Well, because honestly, and I can answer that, yeah, you said it. It's an abuse of your abilities, and they'll be taken away.
And it could bring out a lot of karmic issues.
So we're coming down to about 5 minutes till the next break. Where can our listeners find you?
Well, if they want to find me on Facebook, they can reach me at Chris Garcia, or they can reach me at my own personal cell phone, 210-974-3470. Again, 210-974-3470. They can also email me at garcia187bluelove@gmail.com, or they can also catch me on my own show with my co-host Christopher on the Housewalker Files and the Global Enlightenment Radio Network.
Excellent.
So are there any parting words that you want to leave our listeners with?
Just be safe and stay positive, and just stay in the light, no matter how hard times are becoming. And if you're a person that's new to the psychic abilities, the message I got for you is just trust what you get. Don't doubt yourself. Remain positive and just look for the people that are in the light. Don't be influenced by your decisions, and don't get discouraged. And that's what I have to say.
Outstanding. So, thank you for the interview tonight. It was a great interview.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome. And anytime you want me back on, let me know. I'm here.
We will.
Oh, definitely.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about disclosure, because the Navy, a government agency, has released UFO videos. Actually, they don't call them UFOs. They call them UAPs, I think, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have Barry Gallant, the Kentucky MUFON director, on for the last hour to talk about disclosure. And is it really coming? I don't think so, but we'll see what he has to say.
It came. They released them. That is disclosure.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, we are heading off to our last break of the night, but make sure you join us in the third hour, where we will also be drawing our first name of the month for May giveaways. So
Awesome.
join us for that, and we will also be starting with a quick story. Part of that giveaway is you have to write in a small story to our email address, and we'll be discussing one of the stories that has been sent in. And I'm excited for this one. It's a good story.
It's a good one.
Friend, so here is Hell Within from Crypt Amnesia.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
yourself. They'll bring to the wicked. Think back before you've gone and lost your mind. Before your sickness. And I'm not saying it's your fault, my friend. What it takes to let you go and resurrect your soul. To be born on you. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Release your hell within. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell within. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control. Reflect, accept your sins, release your hell within. You fought the good fight to prevail. They said themselves. Encourage you, we did. Don't get around. Alas, you've fallen straight from grace. Cold and distorted. Now you must face yourself to reach a better place. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Release your hell within. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell within. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control. When will we see you once again? Only time will tell. Time is a thief and a villain. What your ship has not yourself. You cannot change the past, but you might learn from it. It's up to you to fight, to exercise your demon light. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Release your hell within. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell within. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell within. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Welcome back to S4. It's been it's May. I'm so happy it's May. We'll see how fast May goes. If it drags like like March and April did, then I don't know what the hell. It lasted 6 months. Anyway, so I got to give a shout out real quick to my kids, Cheyenne and Anthony. I know they're listening now because I know Mommy's got them listening now. So hey, Cheyenne and Anthony, thank you for listening to Daddy's show. So we just got done interviewing Chris Garcia, well-known, renowned psychic, and now last hour we are talking UFO disclosure. Is it really happening? The Navy released UFO videos. With us we have Barry Gaunt, the Kentucky MUFON director, and a paranormal investigator himself. I want to hear his opinion. But before we get to that, Cole, you have a story to read.
Yes, I do. So this story comes from Jill Reeser. Thank you very much for entering our contest. Just so everyone knows, we are doing the month of May giveaways, and we are reading off your paranormal experiences. And if we get enough of them, we'll continue reading them off even past this event. We'll do this in the third hour of every episode that they keep coming in, and we'll discuss them at length. So, also anyone who enters on the fourth weekend week of May, you will have the chance, even if you've already won, everyone's name will go back into the contest to win an extra large swag bag. So this will include items from many different stores, including our own store and a $25 gift certificate from an unnamed store at this point. So
What? Unnamed?
Unnamed.
Okay.
yeah.
Starbucks.
She hasn't told me where.
Starbucks.
So
Hey, oh wait, I gotta get real quick. So I know he may have missed the first few minutes of the show, but we gotta give a shout out to Cade as well. Cade,
yes.
So we went to Starbucks, and I know this ain't the story, folks, but we went to Starbucks to get a latte for my mom, and Cade was working, and he's like, "What are you guys doing tomorrow?" This is yesterday. And I said, well, we do a radio show, so we'll be, usually my Sundays are shot because we have, guests to line up. We have research to do last minute before the show, whatnot. And he goes, what kind of show is it? I'm like, well, we do paranormal topics. Oh my God, I got to listen. So we gave him the link, and, well, here he is. He's probably listening. So, thank you for listening, Cade.
All right. So, Jill. Some 15 years ago, she was working in an assisted living facility in Port Charlotte, Florida. She was a CNA and cared for a regular list of residents during her shift. Early December one year, she received a new resident. For privacy, she'll call him Joseph Smith. He was in his 90s. His wife had passed previously, and his family lived in another state. During his short stay there, he told her and her co-worker, who she'll call Sally, that he wasn't going to be with them very long, and he knew his time of death was coming soon. She works the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift, so she got him ready for bed and tucked him in. Joseph, after moving into their facility, had paid for an emergency pendant to be worn around his neck. In addition to the pendant, there was an emergency pull cord to his bathroom. Also, he could take his wall plug phone off the hook, which would also send an emergency alert to staff. So he had 3 ways to reach staff, all of which would be sent to pagers to staff that the staff carried during their shifts. The pager received it as the resident's name and room number. The night Sally and her would put him to bed, they recited the Lord's Prayer with him at his request. It gave him comfort. He would say he was ready to die. He lived a good life and was not scared. Sally and her would ask him if after he passed he would let them know when he got to heaven. He always agreed to let them know when he arrived. The same routine and request with Joseph continued for a few weeks until he finally did pass away. His emergency pendant was returned to their director of nursing, who disabled it until the next resident purchased it. And his room number was taken off their pager system for staff as well. About 2 weeks had passed, and Sally and her were working their usual shift. They were in the office during a brief lull during the night. Their pagers alerted, and they both took out the pagers, and it read, Joseph Smith, room 101. They looked at each other and loudly said, no way. They both took off running to the room 101 that Joseph had stayed in. The door was locked. They unlocked the door and entered the dark and empty room. They first checked the bathroom, emergency pulled cords, and they were not pulled down and were in an inactive position. They verified that no telephone was in the empty room, then headed to the nurse's director office. Next, they verified on the computer screen that Joseph had been removed from the emergency alert system and that room 101 showed no contacts. To double verify, they went back to room 101 and pulled the bathroom emergency cord and alerted our pager simply as room 101. They looked at each other and smiled and said out loud to Joseph, thank you, Joseph, for letting us know you made it. This was truly the most amazing and heartwarming experience ever. We don't know where he was or how he paged us, but his energy and spirit was very much alive.
No, that's awesome, actually.
It is.
You know, and what's even more awesome is the fact that they gave him recognition that they knew it was him.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, oftentimes that's, you know, if they don't want to be passed over, if they don't need to be passed over, you will find that, you know, if you have a haunting, folks, and you just give them recognition, a lot of times they'll leave on their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, like, the fact that he was willing to give them that confirmation that he was in a happy place afterwards.
That's excellent. Good story.
Very much so. Thank you very much, Joe. So with that, I'm going to have Eric pull a name out of a hat.
And the name is, we'll let Kayla read it.
I'm going to put my hat back on.
And our winner of the swag bag from FMP, from S4, is Chris Fisher.
Chris, you won. So with that, everyone else's name who was still in there will go back into the hat for the rest of the month.
Yep.
Well, into a pot because I'm wearing my hat again. But so thank you very much, everyone who entered, and everyone who hasn't got one in. Make sure you get an entry in. Make sure you get us a paranormal story. We'll read them out as we go.
Where do they send them?
They send them to s4radiowinner@gmail.com. So send that in to us, and you'll get your own swag bag. Chris, I will be sending that out within the next 4 days. So
I like that story. That story was awesome.
Absolutely.
Barry.
Yes. Hello, Eric. Hello, Colin. Hello, Cole. Hey, I am doing fantastic.
So what's your thoughts on your state, Kentucky? Kentucky protests, oh my God, they're taking our rights away. And then then your COVID case rate goes up.
Hey.
Oh, that isn't just Kentucky.
Oh, come no, but Kentucky.
That is everywhere.
Hey, well, you know, it's really funny. We were looking at it. I was at the doctor's office the other day, and it's strange going to the doctor's office because you're the only one in there, and they're seeing people through like a drive-through way. You know, they get the outside little drive-up place where the people can go in there, so he'll see people out there and give shots and all that other kind of stuff, trying to cut down on the people that come into the office. Mm-hmm. And we started talking. I said, well, so tell me what your thing is. When are we going to get out of here? And he says, well, I said May, but now I'm looking at July. Yeah. And he's like, I said, yeah, isn't that crazy? And he was like, we were talking. I says, well, give me your take on it. And he says, you know, the biggest deal about it is that as he's talking about it, I'm like going, hey, I see this, you know. Atlanta was the third largest city that got hit with a lot of COVID-19. And we have a lot of traffic that comes across up around Nashville and comes in I-65 and takes I-65 up and everything else. I-65 is a major corridor here on this side of the coast to go south. And when you get into, he was saying Lexington had one case last week, and Bowling Green itself had 20 cases. Mm-hmm. And he's like going, I'm thinking it's following I-65. He says, because when you get down I-65 and you look, the first place, Nashville's a big city. You run through Nashville. It's just kind of like the way I travel. I mean, I try to get to the big cities and go to a small city right afterwards. If I want to get something to eat or whatever. Hate to get into that big major ordeal. So what they do is they get out of Nashville. We're just 40 miles north of Nashville, so they stop up at in Bowling Green. And there's 8 exits there. There's all kinds of food, all kinds of stuff. So we have a better chance of being touched by these people who are traveling. We do have a lot of people that are traveling right now. They are still going at it and doing it. So I can definitely see what he's talking about. And in that same area, I-65, it runs right up to Louisville. Louisville's got the same thing, and then it goes into Cincinnati and Indiana up there. It runs into Indiana. So it's all kind of very interesting thing to look at. But as you do look at it, if you start going east and west of I-65, the cases drop off dramatically till there's nothing. So the farther you get east and west of it, it just clears off. So it's got something to do with the people traveling and in the way that they touch stuff and everything else. But
really
all in all,
funky thinking about that. We kind of have the same thing going on here with the I-5 corridor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of makes sense too.
It has to do with the crowds. Mm-hmm. People are gathering because they're not listening, and you're going to have cases go up. That's why states should not open up right now. You open up, you're going to have a case increase, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's fake or not. You're going to have a case increase because people aren't listening. They're traveling anyway. And, we were talking last night because we were supposed to go to the International Bigfoot Conference in September, which they just canceled.
Did they really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they have to. I mean, honestly, I think Whatcom County, for example, here, they canceled the Linden Fair until next year. It makes sense. You're good. We haven't even seen the second wave yet. The second wave is going to come when the flu season hits again. And if you look at history, 3 times the number of people that died in the first wave are going to die in the second. So for the ones that ain't listening, you might want to reconsider.
Right.
So while all this is going on and everyone's focus is on COVID, all of a sudden the Navy releases UFO videos.
Yeah, and you don't hear a dang thing about it either.
You don't
hear it. Yeah, I mean, not one news station
I've
is
been
going,
saying
hey.
that since we've started talking about disclosure. Well, since I started joining SAS4, because you guys were big into disclosure at that point because of who was on the radio.
Yeah.
And I've been saying it since then. If the government's the one saying it, it is not going to be a big deal ever.
Yeah, it's going to be swept under that rug so fast.
It was.
No one cares.
But what's interesting...
Fake news.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Huh?
Homeland Security. So this came out, so I get about 5 to 10 emails a day from various Homeland Security news sources. And what's on the headlines is U.S. Navy releases unexplained aerial phenomena videos in the Homeland Security newswire. Mm-hmm. So this is... I read these with a grain of salt, too, because like anything... you've got a lot of Trump hatred in one source, and you've got, unbiased news sources in other Homeland Security news sources. So either way, you've got to read between the bias. It's just like Fox News is conservative. Well, maybe not so much anymore. It used to be more so than it is now. And CNN is the liberal side. You have to read between who's paying it or who's pushing it. But either way, all the Homeland Security newswire sources are talking about the UFO UFO release.
That's weird. I thought that news was supposed to be like unbiased.
Unbiased?
Yeah,
right?
Oh, no, yeah. Are you kidding me? Jeez.
News is opinion anymore.
Man, you get more good information off of YouTube than you do the news. I'm sorry.
I I always keep on saying it. If the people really get into their news and look at everything else, just do me one favor, do a little research and go look at Project Mockingbird. You know,
Yeah.
and you're going to get the shock of your life because that is a true project and it is a true thing, and you'll see it right there laid out in front of you. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. You know, but you know, down here. And we'll get to the UFO thing in just a minute because I've got to touch base with this because it's going to drive you nuts. It's about the COVID-19 thing again, but I just want to clear that air with that because we are so Tennessee's opening up, right? And we're just south of we're just like not very far from Tennessee, and taxes different and everything else, so people come to Kentucky. Well, the Kentucky governor says, all right, on May 11th, we are putting in a thing that says everyone must wear a mask when you go out in public.
Right.
Okay? Everyone. If you don't, you're going to be fined. So, now the other thing about it is if you are a card-carrying member and you have a permit to carry a pistol, you cannot carry a gun because you have a mask on.
Well, you are concealed.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's the point of concealed weapons if, what's the big
Well, now
deal?
you're going to have all the Second Amendment advocates going, oh my God, no, they're
God,
trying to
no.
take our guns. Oh, holy shit.
Hey, so
Exactly.
I'm just
Canada
throwing this
did.
out.
Don't even.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw
So-
this out here though. So if I were to make a mask out of like that clear material that they use for rain jackets, then I could carry my concealed weapon.
Oh, that might be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever walked into a bank with an automatic weapon?
I try not to get shot.
Right, yeah.
I can neither confirm or deny.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
no, and that's what's funny about the military is, I have actually walked into a bank with an automatic weapon, but that was a military, on a military base, and we were on a training exercise.
Okay, that's a little different. I wouldn't even walk into a bank with a paintball gun. Okay.
But no, we were.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at my buddies. We were all laughing, like, "Yeah, we ain't never ever gonna be able to do this again."
Yeah,
Walk
right.
into a bank
Exactly.
with a military- oh yeah, it was great fun.
I myself prefer to walk into banks with hand grenades. So.
I didn't have any hand grenades. Yeah, those are kind of more.
But-
yeah.
And then we're talking about that. We were talking. You mentioned the news real quick before we get into this stuff, and
Yeah.
I know we're going to be cut on time, but so tonight we catch a blurb out, and the news in like Atlanta and everything else are talking about stay at home. We have a dangerous Japanese murder wasp, and if it stings you, you will die. Do not
Yeah.
go
Oh,
outside.
I did hear about that.
Did you see the picture of that damn thing?
It doesn't look
Yeah.
real, dude.
yeah.
It doesn't look real. But
Okay,
yeah, it's
I'm
supposed to
just
hit
gonna
your
throw
face.
It
this
can
out
hold
here.
a can of Raid.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Now,
You know,
just a second here. So first they divide us up into 13 districts,
Right?
and now they have tracker jackers.
yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Look like those, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it definitely. I mean, it's starting to look like wow. This is really. Good God, are you kidding me?
May the
Yeah.
odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah, right,
Oh,
right.
man.
I mean, it just gets more screwy and screwier as it keeps on going, and I'm like,
And who would have thunk how weird 2020 was going to really turn out?
yeah, and it's about. Even the weather is weird. I mean, today down in Tennessee had more tornadoes activity that some hit down there. I mean, you can't win for losing. I mean, geez, you got tornadoes.
Yeah, and you know that
COVID.
was the thing that I thought was a little nuts too. Is okay. So if the whole COVID was not going on, those tornadoes, that news would have been so broad spread everywhere, and everybody would have known where they hit, what did they touch down, what was going on. It was hard to find information on the tornadoes.
Oh, exactly.
Like, I looked for specific things that I know are happening in specific states, and I can't find any information on them. All that I see is COVID.
Well, my favorite description so far of 2020 is we've now entered May, so it's the 5th level of Jumanji.
Right, exactly. Exactly who we are, and it's crazy. It's insane. But let's talk about the UFO controversy, man. I am the disclosure, and I have some very big feelings about it. And one thing I got to do before I say anything else. Yes, I am a proud fun.
You like the bill?
You like the bill?
What the hell was that?
What are you watching? What popped up on that screen?
So
wow.
Freaking ads. No, I'm on the New York Times website and their description of it.
And they like the bill.
Well, one of the things that they're saying is experts caution that earthly explanations usually exist for such sightings, and that when people don't know why something happened, it doesn't mean it happened because of aliens. Well, if there's an earthly explanation of it, don't you think the best minds at the Pentagon would have found it?
Right, exactly.
So,
100%
coming
right.
from a MUFON perspective, you've got the inside with MUFON because you're MUFON director. What's MUFON saying about all this, or are they saying anything?
Well, of course, our website's got it on. We're looking at it and everything else. MUFON's take may be a little bit different than mine. That's one of the things that I want to say. Right. I'm not what I'm speaking of tonight is my opinion, not MUFON's opinion.
Right.
And that's I want to make sure that everybody understands that it's not what MUFON's thinking. It's what Bear actually thinks. So and it's my opinion, not MUFON's. But
can you give us the opinion of MUFON as well?
MUFON is just looking at it as a way of going more things to look at, to be able to go forward, and disclosure is coming closer and closer. It's a way to say, yes, these things exist, and they are in our airspace and in our oceans and around those areas, and we are seeing them. And today, we're getting more people. We see quite a lot of sightings, and sightings have increased here in Kentucky through MUFON. Last month, we had 18 cases. I've already had 3 cases this month, starting off early. And the month before last, we had 24 cases, which is really high. We normally run somewhere around 10 to 11 cases. So. Right. In a month, and then we also have a lot of sightings of the Elon Musk stuff. So we see quite a lot of different things with Elon Musk. And one of these days, I'd like to blow the lid off of what my thoughts are on that. Because, gosh. But anyway, for me personally, I look at it as this has been going on for a long, long time. I don't look at it as a disclosure. All they're doing is, and actually what they've done is the videos that were released are the same videos that were released in 2017. They're just saying, okay, yeah, we admit that, yeah, we have. They didn't admit that they had them beforehand, Right. So that's kind of like the thing is say, yeah, okay, there is something going on. But do
you find the timing funny?
Yeah, I do.
They knew releasing them now is going to be swept under the rug because everyone's focused on COVID.
Right, exactly. It is. The timing release is extremely strange. But the other thing about it is that look at the History Channel, all that stuff. We had Tom DeLonge and all the other people that were involved in the History Channel show last year, showing pilots talking about this and everything else. And it was in 2019, and it got a lot of airplay, got a lot of stuff. But at the end of every one of them, their agenda is, and we've talked about this for a long time, is that they're saying, "Ooh, they're so superior to us that guess what? That causes a problem for security, and we need to blow them out of the sky. Let's nuke them. Let's kill them. Let's do all that."
Right.
And if you look back into it, one of my sources has a person that is a pilot in the military of an F-17, and they were fitting their guns, and they have, for a long time we had a no-shoot deal. A lot of the times during the early years, if we shot one of these and everything else, and the military, a lot of times it will make up a story. If you're killed in an aircraft, it'll say, "Oh, the aircraft crashed or the helicopter crashed." It doesn't say that you were chasing. Accident. Right, exactly. It doesn't say, "Oh, they shot at the UFO and something happened to them," or the power went out and all this other stuff. But they are doing that kind of thing, and it's hushed up very rapidly. Just last year, we had here in Kentucky, we had 2 F-17s that came in and followed a craft from came across the ocean, came across North Carolina and everything else, and came up into Kentucky, and they fired on it and pulled away, and their missiles dropped. One of the missiles actually landed in an area in eastern Kentucky, and the other one bounced across the road and didn't explode. And it made the news and everything else. So first thing I'm doing is I'm going to get on the line and I'm going to talk about, all right, they made the 11 o'clock news of a TV station in eastern Kentucky. And so I see it, I hear about it. First thing I do is call over there. And now the videos of the show are totally taken off the internet. They always post all that stuff. And they are not talking about it. Nope, don't know anything about it. Don't know a darn thing about it. We cannot discuss that. And it's buried. So
in
it's
World
crazy.
War II, there was a German scientist that believed that all of the phenomena with the lights in the sky was refracted light from the sun hitting the metal off of the planes and all that jazz, and reflecting light all over the place, making people believe that there were lights in the sky where all it was actually like when you hold up a mirror.
Yeah. And great excuse.
Exactly.
So all I ask for you to do is put a plate up there, beam some light off of it, and let me see what it makes.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Pretty easy to do it. Sunlight, whatever.
Shouldn't we have like little burnt spots all over the place?
Right.
It should be duplicatable.
Like a little kid with a microscope on an anthill.
I mean, well, listen to this. I don't know if you saw this or not. Okay, just to talk about, since you mentioned the like a sun visor, because so SpaceX is being seen all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So guess what? Excuse me. SpaceX will use sun visors to darken future Starlink satellites. So they're saying that the reason why we're seeing them is because of the reflection off the sunlight and everything else.
From satellites.
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. So now they're going to put up, they're going to darken them. And it kind of goes to me, I'm like going, yeah, so now we won't see them. They don't want people to know that there's going to be 14,000 of these suckers up there covering the Earth. Right. And I mean, I got news for you. Anytime you put a minivan up there and any satellite up there, there's more than one reason why it's up there. If you think that the only thing that's going to be on there is internet, you are insane.
That's kind of okay.
So But anyway, so now they're going to darken them, but we still have a few 100 of them that aren't darkened. But now they're putting on a sun visor on them so that we won't be able to see them and they won't be able to be reported. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
It is.
I wonder how much more millions of dollars that costed for that little sun visor.
100,000 for sun visor. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's just one of those things that you look at. But UFO disclosure and everything else. We've all talked about disclosure, and we've talked about. I saw a video that Richard Dolan did talking about it. Isn't it amazing that they disclose this information? The government says this, and you don't hear about it. Nobody's studying it. Nobody's following it because of the COVID deal. And it's true. But at the same time, when they were doing the shows, when they were doing everything, they were the number one thing that I heard all the time on these shows is the alien threat. You always heard the word the alien threat. Alien threat. There's an alien threat. And so they make them seem very it's kind of like the coronavirus. There's a corona threat, Well, there's an alien threat. And these people they're coming here and they're going to shoot us and kill us, right? Mm-hmm. But through all the time that we have had reports of UFOs and everything else, yeah, we've had near collisions. We have had, but how many, we shoot at them. How many times have they shot at us? If you think that there are people out there that these crafts that have IQs that could be hundreds of times more than ours, and if you think that they're, what kind of, I'd be more scared if you're panicking about that the cars they're driving around in space do these things and we can't keep up with them. Please don't let me see their weapons come out because you're not going to be able to stop a damn thing with that. They
would, if they wanted to hit us, we wouldn't even know it was coming. And
right.
We'd be gone.
Oh, yeah. So, it's ridiculous. But it takes me back to Walter von Brahm's thing and the 1993 first thing with the disclosure movement with Greer. You look at it and you go, during that time, Carolyn Roslin was on there and she was talking about working with Walter von Braun and what he was saying about the false flags. Mm-hmm. And at the end of her show, she said, and the last false flag is the alien threat. And now that was in 1993, and I'm watching a show in 2019, and what do they say? Word for word, the alien threat.
Yeah.
And, if you look at that, you have to kind of go, oh, boy, they're planning something else for us, And it's just...
The only action they've ever taken has never been a threat. They've shut down our nuclear, capability. But was that really a threat? No, that was to stop us from attacking. They've never actually done anything to be a threat.
Now, to be honest, though, we cannot actually say that. Because we don't know how much they've done that was actually a threat to us, where we thought it was something that was naturally occurring in some way, shape, or form.
Well, when you had Grant Canyon on, Cameron on not too long ago.
Yeah.
And, he is very well studied in the field and with his website, UFOpresidents.com or whatever it is. But, and he mentions that, hey, look, we know that there has been treaties, there's been all kinds of things that are set up, that presidents have met with them. These things are going on. There's documentation that backs it all up. And so you're like kind of going, okay, we're dealing with this. We had agreements with them and we were looking for technology.
Yeah.
And doing the kind of stuff that we were doing. And so to disclose all that and to make all this stuff different, and if we look at how the military is, the dark state military, let's say that, could be 50 to 100 years in advance of what we actually know, and they still keep us in the dark. And that's my favorite, mushroom and feeding us crap. But, that's just the way that that they've made it, and we don't know what we're doing in space. We don't know anything, you know. So.
Absolutely not.
And another thing, it rings my bell, and I want to just put this out too for anybody just to think about and do some research on it, because look at what happens. We say in 2019, Space Force. Okay, we're doing a space. All right. Then what happens? We have somebody gave the authorization, and I don't know who controls space. Do you guys know? I mean, I've always wondered that. But who gave Elon Musk the authorization to go ahead and clutter the skies with 14,000 satellites?
That would either be I would think
China.
It would either be NASA or NORAD.
Nah, it was Rothschilds.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Look at how things match together. You talk about Space Force, and now all of a sudden we're making a netting that's going over the world with 14,000 satellites. And satellites go both ways, as you know.
There was a news story that came out, about a month ago, too, that was saying that Trump was talking about mining the moon, right? So this came out like about a month ago, something like that. You look around online, it's really hard to find any information on this now.
Well, of course.
Like it was one of those that just kind of spurted out there and then kind of got retracted.
It disappeared.
So how are we going to go and mine something that don't belong to us? I'm just saying.
Right. Well, you know, and the funny thing about it is that when you look at it and all the things that we have heard about the moon, and we've dropped bombs up on it, you know, we're looking. That was a famous excuse. Let's see if we can find water. Let's take a nuclear warhead, shoot it at the moon to see what happens. I was always wondering what they found there before they shot that thing off. You know, there's been so many things. Is the moon hollow? And then at the other point is. When the astronauts were up there, supposedly some of the things that they were talking about on the first thing, where they were everywhere around there, were they already mining the area? Is this something that
Death Star 2.0?
Right, exactly. Or what exactly is up there that we'd want to mine? You know, and how would we use it?
So Dennis is in the chat room. He says it was the U.S. Federal Communications Commission has granted Musk permission to operate 12,000 Starlink satellites, January 6th of 2020.
Yes, but what gave them the right to do that? Do they?
The U.S. Federal Communications Commission, because they do what they want.
Right. Well, I mean,
isn't
that's the worst
over
thing.
International space, though? Is there international space like there's international waters? Is there lines up there?
Well, there should. I mean, Japan. I mean, there's all kinds of different. China's up there. All different kinds of people up there. So, whatever gives them the right to think that they own above the stratosphere is just kind of amazing to me. Yeah. But
America planted its flag in it. Therefore, it's ours.
Yeah.
Right?
And the other thing about it is the United States Federal Communication area, the FCC, they're also the ones that hold the license to all these news companies. Okay? Uh-huh. So if you don't follow the way that you go, I'll pull your license.
Absolutely. So,
I mean, it's a catch-22 situation everywhere you look at it, but I mean, you're overspending boundaries that are like, okay, the FCC now can just say, oh, sure, go up there and just cloud up everything. I mean,
okay, but
why?
I gotta say it.
What?
Why all of a sudden does anyone need permission?
Yeah, I guess no one's really ever had permission to go blast something off into space, have they?
Well, it's kind of like going...
it's not just blasting things into space.
It's kind of like this. I'm sorry, Cole. I'll let you have your time just a second, but I got to throw something into it. Let's go back to CERN. why did CERN decide, let's go ahead and see what the Big Bang Theory looks like? Let's try to recreate that. Well, what would happen if they did recreate it and it blew half the Earth away, or it killed us? We're just walking around like nothing, They don't think about that. They don't think about anybody else. We're nothing but numbers and everything else they've tried to control, and they don't give two, dams about us. So they're giving these people the author. Well, why don't I just see what it's like to blow up this side of the Earth? Or can I actually? What would happen if the moon wasn't there? Come on. It's kind of like going, yeah. We are a society of people that are living here, and I think we ought to have the damn right to be able to at least know what the hell is going on and have an interest in it. But it seems like that's all going away.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry about that.
They do it in the name of science, or they do it in the name of religion. They
right.
know what's best for us. That's what it boils down to.
But okay, Kayla asked who gives Trump permission to mine the moon, right?
He's Trump.
No, but here's the thing.
He thinks he doesn't have
He's an American.
permission. Huh?
He's an American.
I know, absolutely.
Who gave anyone permission to mine anything in this country?
Well,
think of the gold rush. How many natives were kicked off their land in order for the gold rush to happen?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Oh, right, exactly.
Permission has never been needed. It was taken.
Yep.
Oh, that's exactly right. But just because we put a flag on a piece of land or on a moon, we think we own it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like what they did to the natives and everything else. They forced people off their land. They moved things around. If it's not this way, we're going to take over. We're going to do this because of the greed, the ability. What are they looking for? Gold.
Well, if the moon is hollow, they're going to get a real quick surprise.
Yeah, exactly. So oh well,
And then in the words of many of them, it's my God-given right. Really?
When you put it into like gold rush standards,
right?
The guy with the least amount of guns lost. These
right.
have already been mining the moon. It's already hollow. They made it that way.
Yeah.
I think they might have more guns.
Well, maybe.
I'm pretty sure they'd win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've been mining the moon for 60 years and we just decided we're going to give that a try, I think that there might be a little bit of a dispute there. But, it's just that kind of world now, disclosure to me and all this stuff with all this, there's a total amount of disclosure that needs to happen that all is in this black, dark government. That's the hardest part that
like I've said 1.5 million times, though, man, we've had disclosure so many times, where people came out and they were like, "Hey, look, it's an alien. That's a UFO." Okay, like an unbelievable amount of times. But ain't nobody listening. Nobody cares.
What if War of the Worlds was actually just like the War of the Worlds presentation was actually disclosure, and halfway through they're like, okay, this isn't going well. We're not doing this. Never mind. Cancel.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. But that's what they based all that stuff on. And what would society do? And look at what society will do. And golly, for 19, you tell us to stay at home, we're all going to stay at home. You do some of these things, and it's like going, wow. And it really, in one hand, it's bad. On the other hand, you go, okay, but, you're taking a gigantic risk everywhere that we are looking at. And we're talking about our freedoms and our knowledge of what's actually going on around us. And they have decided a long time ago that we are too volatile of people that they cannot let the truth out. Even though I believe that slow disclosure from movies and everything else have all been made for that reason, because they mention stuff it goes on to this day, and you can just follow it back because they feed that stuff out all the time. They feed it out in small little drips. They feed it out in drips, and it's very, very, very strange. But they're not going to tell you that, oh, yeah, by the way, we had a Space Force in 1983. And everyone had it. And now it's incorporated all underneath the new Space Force now. It was called the United States Space Command back in 1983. You know, and what were we doing with that? I mean, and some of the websites are being taken down now and everything else that were there, but some of them you can see, well, this has been formed into the space, the Space Force. And you're like going, what's the big difference? You know, all you did is move one project to another, and why is now we're telling we have a Space Force? But no one knew we had a Space Force back then.
Because it was
did you know that we had a Space Command in 1993 and all that stuff in the 80s? No. I mean, we didn't hear about that.
And that's why Dennis is in the chat room. He says that's why everyone laughed at Trump, because he formed something that was already there. And
right.
How many times has he done that? He does it all the time.
Yeah.
He really does.
But at the same time, no one ever came out and acknowledged that it was there.
No.
That's what, so if you want disclosure, there's a pretty big piece of disclosure, because it was already there, but no one knew about it. Right. Believe me, there is so much stuff, and if we knew, we'd probably riot in the streets, but they would take us down like Larry Lunchmeat too, though.
Absolutely. So, do you see, and this is a stupid question, do you see disclosure coming? And how many times have we asked that on this show? I mean, in the last 3 years.
So many.
I personally, disclosure will come from either the abductees themselves as they group together and get a voice together, or it's going to come from the aliens themselves. They're going to say, we're tired of this crap, we're coming in, and this is the way it's going to be. But as far as our government doing it, no, because look at what that means.
Well, look how many times they've already done it.
Yeah. Are you going to be mad that our government lied to you since 1947 or 1942?
No, because
and all this stuff, right? Yeah, they already have, and all the things that are going on and everything else. There's going to be people that are going to be upset about that. Why would you go and say, "Yep, I'm a liar"? No, you're not going to. You can't let that go on, because that in itself is a security risk to the United States.
Well, and that's what kills me is people, and I've asked this before. Do you think humans are ready for aliens? No.
Not
at all. The minute they come out and say, yes, there are creatures out in space, we can't stop them. We don't know what to do to stop them. They've come on down here and manipulated our missile silos. They're out of our control. No, hell no. You would see mass panic. You have mass panic over a virus.
Right.
Granted,
right. Exactly.
This virus is 10 times worse than the flu, and every reason to be, terrified of. But,
yes.
I don't believe in fear. I believe in preparedness.
I agree with you 100%.
That's what I push for. Now, how do you prepare? How do you prepare for aliens? Like you do any other disaster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Make sure you're armed. Make sure you've got plenty of ammo, because they do bleed and they will die.
Yep.
And get ready for head for the mountains if you need to. But don't be scared of them.
Well, what's the point in being scared of something that you can't control?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And the other part about it, Kyle, when you look at it all together, and if you just look at what S4 has been talking about and what Force Paranormal knows, and the people that followed this show and are probably higher educated than a lot of the people within this country, because of the fact, what do you say about, you guys are aware that there are creatures that are living on this earth that are hiding that will eat us.
But they bleed.
Right, they do bleed, okay? Doesn't mean every one of us find this a delectable thing, but what happens is that here in our little world, we are the primo beings. We've got a brain. We're better than anything. And you bring something in that's got something else, people are going to be so fearful of that it is going to cause a major problem.
Hey, I want proof.
I wonder if aliens taste like chicken.
I want proof.
Yeah, I
I've
always
been to
say
Walmart. Not everyone here has a brain. I don't believe that.
Oh,
right. Exactly. I go that way. But that's what almost gives you a case for hybrids. You go, okay, they're losing their ability to cloak as humans, and they're turning into a wild Walmart person.
That's Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth.
Just stop it now.
Did you see the new picture that's out?
No.
They got a side profile of her, and the skin on the back of her neck is kind of green.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's from the necklace she wears.
That's because she's ancient. She's moldy.
Yeah.
So we're down to about 9 minutes, and it's been great to have Barry. Barry is a great friend of this show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey,
Enjoy
I'm
it very much.
gonna throw something out really quick.
What?
I realize we only have a few minutes left here, but if you noticed, with the different movie patterns, with the different everything that's going on and all of that, we had a whole bunch of movies come out about the biggest storm of the century, the biggest storm, right around the time that, I don't know, CERN and stuff started up for their operations and everything. Mm-hmm. And now we decided to raid Area 51, and now it's all about aliens. I'm just saying, man. Like,
hey,
So
yeah, well,
I'm switching topics here for a second because it just
irritates
irritates me.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But dude, okay, so they pushed, and this is way out of the left field, but they pushed for a wall, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have Area 51, who doesn't have a wall, but is the most secure facility in the country.
Yes.
Why can't they use the same technology, the same manpower, to watch borders?
Because if you evaporate every single illegal immigrant, you got a huge scenario.
Name a Mexican that's trying to get into Area 51. If they tried, I believe they could. No, they are the one people, those illegal immigrants that cross that border, I think they'd make it. To the door, at least.
Have you ever seen a warhog?
Huh?
Have you ever seen an A-10?
Yeah, but...
No, they
have you ever been to Area 51?
Heck no.
No, I wasn't a dumbass when it came to that one.
I stay away from that one.
I've had the pleasure of being at Area 51, and let me tell you something. It is totally bizarre, and
It's completely open desert, though.
It is. It is nothing but there's nothing there going there. The gate that everybody goes to is way away from anywhere. You don't get to see anything. But man, for one thing, for a fact, I would not try to run across that fence because I don't know. But see, the difference is there's a gigantic sign up there, or there was. It was removed the last time I was there. I did not see it. About right to use force,
right?
Deadly force. Well, if you put signs up all around the border that says right to do deadly force, nobody's going to come across there because you're going to. That puts a different aspect on it.
That's what I'm saying. That would be against human rights. That would be against humane rights. You can't vaporize people just because they're illegal immigrants. But
look at the same thing. Corona-19 is a killer.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And what do they do with that? I mean, we are... Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. It's no different. But people look at things about, we're killing people. There are, some things you got to do, some things you don't have to do. And if you had the technology that is around Area 51, Area 52, NORAD, all that area up there, and whatever else we have in underground bases and all that stuff, you know that you don't get an opportunity to get in there, and they'll never know about me or you trying to do it. I mean, I'll just come up missing. I'll just, oh, well, a bear just walked into the woods, and I'd be David Pilati would be writing about the case of bear.
Missing
missing
All right, ladies
411
and gentlemen,
case.
we are down to the last minute here, so thank you very much, Barry, for coming on for the last hour. You rock.
That's my pleasure, and I thank you guys. You're the ones that rock, and I enjoy you very much. And keep putting out the stuff you're putting out, man. It's great.
For all our listeners out there, make sure you get in your entries for the month of May giveaways to s4radiowinner@gmail.com. That's s4radiowinner@gmail.com. Make sure you get those in at any time that we need a paranormal experience or story from you, as well as your email and name. And we will be reading off another story next week as we talk to Rosella.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's going to be an excellent show.
So next week, we have Rosella C. Rowe. She's an author, haunted tour host for Haunted Ireland Cruises, and blogger for my haunted travel blog. She'll be on next week.
I am excited.
It's going to be a great show.
That sounds like an awesome show.
Oh, God.
Absolutely. And with that...
So I'm going to tell you, too, if you want to be a guest on the show, send me an email to Medicine Eagle, MEDICYNE_eagle @yahoo.com, or just contact me directly on Facebook. So with that, have a safe week, folks. Stay home, don't spread the virus, and keep your eyes to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.